Okay. Right, that's not too bad. I get a little bit of echo, but I think that's fine. So,
You want me to put
Chris,
my headphones on?
yeah, if you can, if you've got them right there.
Yeah, they're not far.
Here we
All
go,
right.
everyone. Here we go.
There we go.
Right. So,
Oh my gosh, don't worry. 1 second. Sorry, it's should be coming on here.
okay, that's
Oh,
it.
there we go.
I think. Yep. Okay. Okay.
You
Well,
hear me?
I'll give a little bit of an introduction, although I think you probably know you already. Chris Kendall, registered holistic nutritionist, former professional skateboarder to some degree.
You know, funny enough, I actually just got a pro skateboard the other day.
All right. Okay. Cool. Raw vegan chef, raw vegan author, lifestyle coach, speaker, teacher, inspiration to many. Huge online following. For me, when I started off with the raw vegan diet, what I liked about Chris is the balance between that were almost like making it sound like it was a very, I don't know, kind of, they were militant about the lifestyle. They were very passionate, extreme about the lifestyle, but it felt like they had a lot of, it almost seemed like they must have all this discipline to do this and all this willpower and all this, like really going hard at it or something. Whereas Chris always seemed relaxed, it seemed easy, it seemed fun, it seemed just a nice balance from other the other things I was seeing. Um, and Chris is still raw vegan, and a lot of people are who were starting off when I was uh, back there in the day. So we're going to talk about going raw, I suppose, but we'll mention the bundle up front. The Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. Why did you put that together? What was the thoughts around that?
Well, first off, thanks so much, Ronnie. I appreciate that, and it's a joy to hear that that's the energy I conveyed. You know, I've always had a fun time with raw food, and I feel really blessed to be in a kind of comfortable, relaxed state with it. It wasn't always that way, but to get to that point, with the raw bundle in general, you know, Lissa and I had both been in a number of plant-based bundles, starting, you know, last year and going into January, and separately, we both had the feeling like this is so awesome and it's so good for the community, and we had a lot of success personally with it, and you know it exposed us to a wider audience, and we just knew that there was going to be a raw one coming, and we both kind of mentioned like, man, it'd be so cool to have a raw one, like I'd love to do it, but it's too much work, and we decided, you know what, let's just do it together, let's keep it in the raw food family, because you know, there are a lot of bundles. Bundles are pretty hot right now, and there are a lot of just bundle companies. And we figured, let's do it. You know, we're in the scene, we're a big part of this. Let's gather our family together and just make it happen. So that's what we did, and we just started blowing the horn and contacting friends and people we've been in touch with for a long time, and here we are. You know, so it's really really awesome.
And has there ever been anything like this before? I mean, you talked about plant-based bundles and stuff and vegan, but have you ever seen anything like this in the raw for the raw food people?
I've never seen a raw vegan bundle. And like I said, we both knew it was only a matter of time. The plant-based bundles have been amazing, and I'll probably be a part of some of those in the future because ultimately I want to reach more people, right? Especially people that are on a standard plant-based diet. For them, the next echelon is going towards more raw food, right? But yeah, we had never seen a raw food one. Who knows, you know, if there has been that we just didn't see it. But I mean, we have a lot of connections within the raw food scene, and you'd think we would have. Definitely, there's been a few plant-based bundles that had some raw foodists in there, but never an exclusively raw one. And since both of our audiences are predominantly raw, or at the least that's what we really focus on, we just felt like this is the absolute best idea.
Okay, excellent. And I think this will help so many people. I'm excited to see people talk about this in years to come. As far as I can see, it's the first time this has come together. I think people have tried to do things. I think maybe they didn't get it together or whatever. But this is an incredible offer. and it's available till tomorrow, so everyone can check that out in the link in our profiles and learn more about that. But we've got about maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And firstly, I want to ask you, because there's a lot of people probably watching that are starting off here. So why would someone want to go on a raw vegan diet for you? What's the appeal of it? What's the reason to do it? It's obviously a very unusual thing. Not a lot of people do it at the moment. So what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. And to give credit where credit's due, one of my favorite answers comes from Dr. Doug Graham, who said, generally speaking, it's either the very sick, the very athletic, or the very intelligent. Those are the most common. Of course, there are just the very curious or the very accidentally fell upon it because of their partner or friend or social media presence, right? But usually it does come from one of those. The other one that I might add in there too is just somebody who's really, compassionate, conscious, and really cares about the animals and falls into veganism and then sees like, hey, whoa, like I see some people doing something a little bit different out here, right? But for myself, it was really first started with athletics and emotional wellness, a need to love myself more in action. And that spilled over into every other aspect. And, what I would recommend for anyone is to increase the reasons why they do this, to ask why not, like, to me, there is way more reasons to do this, to treat yourself exceptionally, to give it a try and look at it like that. Like, this is an experiment. I see people doing it. It looks cool. Why not try it? And at the very least, adding some fresh fruits and veggies to your diet is a definite win for yourself, the planet, the animals, everything.
Did you kind of change overnight, or were you already making changes to your diet for years before going raw?
I made some changes overnight, which really mainly was just adding fruit for breakfast. I did that in 98, 99. I haven't had a sick day since, it's been over 20 years without a sick day, but that was the big change. And then I had about a 4.5-year transition going from like a self-professed T-Rex that would make fun of vegetarians to high raw vegan, basically the raw till 4. And I was basically raw till 4 for about 6 months. And then met Doug Graham, and boom, overnight went from there to all raw because he just cleared it up and made way more sense once I talked to him. And that's 17 years ago this spring. So yeah, that's kind of my transition journey.
I think you also had like a bit of an emotional awakening. It wasn't just about health, like it was an holistic, altogether, like becoming, I don't know, I get the feeling like becoming a higher version of yourself or something.
Yeah, I mean, the first 5 years of my health journey or journey into health was really self-based, trying to heal from skateboard injuries and depressive cycles and stuff like that. And when I met Doug and went raw, it opened something else completely. It really put me in touch with my higher self and with my purpose here. Because again, before that, like I was even in school to become a registered holistic nutritionist. And that was going great, and I was enjoying all the nutritional training, and I was still just doing it so that I could skateboard more and jump off buildings and hurt myself and heal fast. But once I went raw, like something happened, something shifted, and I was like, this is why I'm here. I want to spread this message. I want to help people feel their absolute best and make the difference in the world that I want to see. So that was a big shift.
And you've become a coach, and I think you've been coaching people for at least 10 years, maybe more. And I imagine you've probably coached like maybe thousands of people by now, and mentored a lot of people through your channel online and things like that. Do you find patterns in, the mistakes people are making, and how do you help them with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, some of the biggest patterns are ones that people hear all the time, and there's a reason for that. They just do happen all the time, right? But the biggest ones are people under eating, or people being a little bit too stressed out, like really being worried about individual nutrients nonstop and overthinking it. Poor education, just because there is a lot of buzz out there. Or otherwise not really considering it as a whole lifestyle, just overweighing the importance of food and not really looking at their sleep or not looking at their emotional poise or their connections or, activity, any of those kinds of things. But I'd say those are the most common. other than that, and I guess coupling with that too, is just the emotional awareness around why you eat, and food in general, and destructive habits and soothing kind of relationships that we carry over from childhood and beyond.
Something I was wanting to talk about, and this is something that one of the fun things about the bundle for me has been like I've kind of felt recently like um, lost my motivation a little bit, or was disconnected from things a little bit, and then this last week has just been really fun, and I didn't even realize there was the chat group, and then I got involved with that, and it's been really I just love anytime this group of people comes together. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's all like
I can see you get fired up. You're just like, yes. It is play, right? It is fun connecting and just like joking around with friends, that they get you.
It's great. Like everyone's got this desire to spread this lifestyle, but it's good for someone to come along and say, here's a focus, and we'll all get together and to do this. So it's really nice. And you've kind of taken the hard part of it, the difficult part out of our hands, so we're just trying to share it and help other people with it. But what I was going to ask you about is something, the conversation I had with Grant was, we were talking about how it felt like there was a point, I don't know if you agree with this, but there was a point where, like, especially the 80-10-10 movement, maybe it was called that, or the raw food movement when Woodstock started and things, like it was really growing and expanding, and so many people were getting big on online and stuff. And then a lot of people turned against each other. There was a little bit of infighting, and it felt like things lost a little bit of momentum. And we think that this could be a good start for a resurgence of this whole movement with the bundle and whatever comes out of that. What do you think about that?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I've always been one for more cohesiveness and coming together on what we all agree with, rather than, infighting about what we disagree with, and, healthy debate, and, just supporting each other. I think that's really great. And I think, in the past, there was some just unfortunate incidences, and, stepping on each other's toes, and, trying to become the next it, or whatever it may be, but yeah, that's in the past. And I think a lot of things have shifted. And I think that part of that as well also is just like the growth of social media and all the things that kind of go along with that. And, people saw some infighting, and it spread out in a way where it wasn't quite as like new and niche and focused. It just kind of got a little bit fuzzy around the outside. And I still think the scene has been growing super, super huge, but it's had a little less like specific intrigue and focus. It's just got a little more fuzzy, so I hope that this brings a little bit more unity, a little bit more focus on the big picture stuff, not just like the little teeny minute things.
Yeah, I like that. The fuzziness. Yeah, for sure. What's your lockdown been like? I just say this, like, I've just been wondering, what have you actually been up to the last, whatever it has been, 20 years since the world's been locked down, or whatever it's been.
20 years.
Have you been in Sweden? You've been in Sweden the whole time, or just some of it, or?
I've been in Sweden. I came here last summer for 3 months, and I actually got bitten by a cat, was hospitalized, and had my first round of antibiotics that I had in as long as I remember, and a whole bunch of stuff. 3 surgeries on my hand, was pretty crazy. Then I went back home it was only supposed to be 3 months, but it ended up being 4.5 months. And then I got back here in, I believe it was like either late January or early February, and I've been here ever since. I'm a Swedish resident now, so I'm living here full on. This is the new home base. And, with everything going on, very truthfully, like for me, it hasn't been a lot different, because some people are surprised by it, but I am a little bit more of an introvert. Like when I'm in certain circles or in certain situations, I can definitely be very extroverted and really embrace my Leo side in that way. But a lot of the time, I like to just keep it mellow and just be with a few people, my girlfriend or a couple of friends or my family. And a lot of the time, I'm just on the computer doing my thing, doing the raw advantage, So beyond that, yeah, man, the last 6 months has been actually like almost brain meltingly busy, in the point where I'm like, I'm really looking forward to a break and just to chill down for a little bit, because there's been a lot of behind the scenes work and things that I'm coming out with in the next little while. And this has been really busy the last 3 months. But otherwise, yeah, just like family time, Camilla time, Kitty time, lots of work, and skateboarding whenever I can, which I'm really feeling blessed to be doing that more and more and more, and to feel better and better and better since the accident in 2018. But that's me, man. Just keep on keeping on, doing the same thing, trying to spread it in the best ways I can, and get things even more streamlined to be able to help more people and live the authentic, balanced, really happy, enjoyable life that I want to.
Yeah, something that you've always been really great at and kind of a pioneer at. We talked about you making this lifestyle easy, fun for people, but you've always, I know that you started off doing your recipe books and it was really simple recipes, natural hygiene, the healthiest possible sort of food, following all the rules of hygiene or whatever. But you've then expanded to these recipes that are like transitional recipes where you're still using the principles of healthy food, but expanded it a little bit to make recipes that are more common to what people would see as what food is, if that makes sense for the average person. So I think you've got the Retreat Treats book, and you've got other things. Has that just been like a natural process to you? Do you eat that stuff all the time? Is it now and again, or do you try and focus on the healthy side, or where are you at with that?
Yeah, I mean, the first 5 years as a raw foodist, I really focused on super simple, hygienic. Like, I actually thought in my head and in my energy field that like the idea of a hot pepper was bad, and like I'd be a bad person if I had it. Like I remember actually too, like I was such a strict food combiner that if I saw someone else not food combining, I would get a stomach ache. Like I really A-typed it that way. And at some point, I decided to give a hot pepper a try. I didn't die, but I did notice some stuff from it. And I also kind of looked out around myself and in the raw food scene, and I saw that it was almost polarized at that point, because this is a decade ago now, that it was either hygienic cuisine or high fat gourmet. And because I'd been really simple for years, and I wanted to experience some old foods, I was like, let's try and bridge that gap. Let's try and make some low fat raw gourmet. And being kind of to some degree, I'd say natural kind of chef, it's always been an inclination, and I've always had great results in it just in general. I started playing, and I started having fun, and I started doing retreats and sharing those recipes, and people loved them, and I started developing more and more. And for myself, where I'm at, like I might go any given day, week, or month where I eat very, very simple, hygienic. And then I might go any day, week, or month where 5, 6 days a week I'm eating what I would consider light, low fat gourmet, like, like a stew or a curry or something like that. And then on the odd occasion might be something a little more extravagant, like a pizza or something that requires a lot of dehydration and time, like that could be once every couple weeks or once every month or two, but I noticed that in general, I absolutely feel my best when I'm fairly simple, and if I add some other stuff in, it's partially for entertainment and partially for comfort and partially for variety or cost. But at the same time, I still find it incredibly nourishing, and it feels really damn good, and keeps me feeling really good about the raw food diet, because I've tried the alternatives, and for me, like high raw, low fat raw gourmet, or sorry, high raw compared to all raw with occasional low fat raw gourmet, I feel way better keeping it that way. And it doesn't trigger any cravings, which makes me think like, oh, I want to try this dish now. Now I'll try that dish. It keeps me within the same kind of flow.
Someone said on Instagram, you guys look like twins, but I think we can only look like twins if you're talking about the film Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. I don't know if we look that similar. We've both kind of got some facial hair at the moment. I don't know if I'm quite at Chris's handsomeness level, but
I think you're pretty handsome.
Definitely not in the hair anymore. But yeah, so I'm just curious as to what's your favorite part of what you do? Do you like social media? Do you like coaching? Do you like speaking, preparing the food, chefing? Like, is there anything in particular that you really would like to focus on more if you could?
Well, I would honestly say that I enjoy the like one-on-one group consults and like interviews and talks and stuff like that the absolute most. That's when I get really fired up and get really excited. And I mean, I think like anyone, there are some points in time where I have something else like I want to be doing, and it's like, oh, I have something I have to do, but it's what I do, which I really enjoy the absolute most. And every time when I'm in it, it's like, this is like so fun. I really love it. Other than that, I love to see and hear people enjoying my recipes, and I like to make food for people sometimes, but I wouldn't want to be like a full-time chef where that's all I do. Like that to me would get to be like taking my passion and turning it into work, which that's not what I love. Retreats, absolutely love that. I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, and yeah, I think it's really is mostly the personal and group coaching and mentoring. I really love to see people's light bulbs flash up and to see people and hear people and feel people reach higher heights and let me know like, wow, I feel so much better.
Sorry, I just had a message from Melissa. I think I ended the Instagram accidentally. Damn.
All good. Well, we're still here on the Zoom, right?
Yeah, I'll jump on live again and see if anyone joined. Anyway, yeah, we're still here. Damn, sorry for your your audience there. So we'll talk about the yeah, if you want to try and jump on Instagram for a couple of minutes.
Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Should I jump on yours again? It's still showing yours, or should I try and start a live and you jump in, or what is?
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry.
Should I exit it and then go back in?
Yeah, if you
okay, I'll exit it. Okay, that sounds good. I'm exiting there. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, and you're live again. I'm popping back on.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. So let's talk about your contribution to the bundle. Is this a brand new book that you've got in the bundle, or is it something you've put out before?
No, this is a brand new book. It does contain recipes from a smattering of my books, as well as new recipes that have never been before released. The intention really is just to bring together the basic framework of what I see as a healthful raw vegan diet, coupling together super simple recipes as well as some lower fat raw gourmet, and providing like a framework for success, whether you're an active male or an active female, different weight classes, and show you like the calories and shopping lists and tips and tricks and fun stuff like that in a seasonal manner. So it's usually more cost effective as well.
Awesome. And we'll mention the bundle if people want to get it. You can go to the links. There's links in our Instagram pages, and we'll put some links down below in the chat as well. 65 ebooks, programs, courses, guides, all surrounded in the raw vegan diet and lifestyle and healthy lifestyle in general. From about 50 creators, 50 different authors and creators?
At least 50 creators. Yeah.
And available till tomorrow. Finishes tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow at 11:59 PST, which for us will be like 6 and 7 in the morning, I believe, or something like that.
And if there's any testament, the website kind of crashed yesterday because of how many people were trying to get the bundle. So it's been promoted over the week, and all of a sudden, like the word's just getting out there, and everyone's just realizing what a great value it is.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it is. I've said before, and I truly do believe it's the best value and offer that has ever been put forth in the raw vegan movement, and it's an amazing opportunity, and couldn't come at a better time in the world and in society where embracing health and health creation is just so important, and a lot of people are having a hard time financially. So you can get over $16.50 worth of stuff for $50. It's like any 3 books from the bundle are going to be more than the price of over 65. It's actually 67 things, and there's courses in there with $300, right? Like, and one of the courses is actually about becoming an entrepreneur. So if you want, you could actually make a living because of this bundle, right? So it's pretty ridiculous. I feel really, really stoked to be a part, and by the communal effort, everyone coming together to share and grow together, right? And yeah, I encourage everyone to definitely check it out and just click Ronnie's profile link and check it out.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, and I've contributed my book to it. It's over 200 pages of information, and I've sold my book hundreds of times for $25, and the whole bundle's just a little bit more than that, $49. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Chris, but I've spent more than that just going to one event and buying the books from the different people that I was seeing there, and definitely then taking part in programs. It's the amount of money that I've spent is massive, but I totally think like the investment in my health has been so worth it. So I don't think people should
Oh
really
man.
question. I don't think people will question the money side, but I guess more so like, how are people going to use this? How would you recommend someone uses this if they get it?
In my former life, getting drastically changed life and like your loved one. It's like it really could. So what I jump out to them, open those ones up first and give.
Yeah, I can hear you on Instagram. I think on Zoom, the connection might not be so good, but that's
I think I'm
maybe
back
from
on
my.
Zoom now.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, I just encourage people to look at what jumps out and then make sure they check out some of the informational, instructional, educational stuff too, because that's one of the biggest ways to make sure that you have success with the raw food lifestyle too, is to kind of know the ins and outs and some of the myths and simple tricks from people who've been doing it for a long, long time, and then just dive into the recipes and the courses and have a lot of fun. It's like, who knows how long to dive in and soak it all up.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Chris. I'm going to leave it there because Melissa's going to join me. So those who are here on Zoom or Instagram, I'm going to start a new live with Melissa. If you want to watch this one back, it will be up on my page. Check out the bundle. It's available through our links. Thank you very much for watching. And Chris, we'll see you again.
So, brother, see you guys. A pleasure.
Awesome. I've just ended I've ended the Instagram, Chris. So thank you very much. And I'll just wait for.
Yeah, more than my pleasure. Yeah, sorry if the quality wasn't so good.
Oh no, I think I had a few issues with the bandwidth or whatever because I was trying to do this and be online. So, but yeah, I just need to match. I just need to message. Okay, so
you've been
Melissa,
giving her, man. You've done a lot of lives, hey? It's so awesome.
Yeah, well, I just tried to follow what people were telling me to do, really, in the group. So I've been. It's nice to have something that you are happy to sort of promote and share,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And sorry, I'm trying to do 3 things at once. my brain
good, brother.
I barely do one thing at once.
I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah, have you been working pretty long hours on this?
Quite a bit, man. Yeah, it's because I mean, internet land never stops, and between writing a book and then just connecting everyone and doing kind of the behind the scenes admin and a couple other projects that are behind the scenes right now, it's been a lot, admittedly, but it's been awesome. I wouldn't have it, well, wouldn't say I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's been definitely well worth it, and just awesome to see the connections and everything really growing. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm just trying to send an email to Melissa. Oh, that's
You need some privacy. Do you want me to? I love saying privacy instead of privacy.
Yeah, yeah. Could you chat a little bit?
Do you want me to leave?
No, no, no.
Are people still live with us? Do you want me to take off, or what? Like, what do you want me to do here? This is getting awkward, Ronnie.
So we're live on Zoom still. Melissa's joining.
Oh my God, people are still here.
I didn't know if you. Okay,
where's the chat?
It should be
there. Chat. I see chat. Oh, there's the chat. Hey guys, amazing value for money. Such a pleasure, Monica. Hey, Monica. Hey, I can look at this. The raw pizza delivery service. Hey, Ashia. I wish that I had it for myself. You know, I honestly wish that I had it for myself. I would love to have.
Oh yeah, the raw food delivery service. So I'm live with Chris on Zoom and Melissa on Instagram. So I need to wait for. This is going to be too much for my brain, but Melissa, can I see if I can hear you here? Okay, I can hear you. Do you want to join Zoom, or I could just like point the camera of the Zoom, I suppose?
I can join the Zoom and put it on mute.
Okay, yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Chris. I think if you want to leave, you can, or hang about, do what you like.
I'm going to awkwardly sit here and just mess up the whole scene. I'm just gonna like say things because it'll be so mixed up on the Instagram. They won't be able to see or hear me, but it'll just be like really awkward.
I love awkwardness, but like I love watching other people being awkward, not being exposed to myself. But
like, I mean, I could go on the live stream here with you two on there. I'm kind of messing around. I embrace the awkward, and it's part of my story. Enjoying that.
No, I like the fact you brought it out. That was great.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, Melissa
can't see me, but I see her. Yeah, I see her on here.
That's right. Okay, cool. Okay, so
hey, how you doing?
Oh my gosh. There are so many people in here. Wow.
Yeah, people are really having fun watching us messing around. This is exactly what the group chat's been like for the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. It's just a lot of fun and silliness, I suppose. Melissa, can you speak now so I can hear if you're on Zoom?
Yes. Does it work?
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Perfect. Hey everyone, this is so cool.
Okay, nice. Right, so everyone, I'm sure most of you know who Melissa is. To have a brief introduction, Melissa has a Instagram page, YouTube channel, also a Facebook group, all helping people to change to a raw vegan diet. Raw Vegan Monkeys, I think, was her first Facebook group that led to her putting out videos and more content. She lost over 70 pounds on a raw vegan lifestyle. She's tried many different types of diet, and she tried the higher fat raw diet as well, and worked in the nutrition industry, so has a lot of good background there, and I believe is a professional photographer, and then took that passion online on Instagram and has a big following, and she's spoken at the UK Fruit Festival and the Woodstock Festival, the Canada Fruit Festival, and her books are a major hit among people, and she gets a lot of amazing reviews for the books, like really seriously good reviews. So Melissa, anything else you want to say about yourself before we get going?
You said it awesomely, Ronnie. Thank you so much for all those kind words. I've just been having a blast sharing the raw vegan message and the vegan message, and just helping people to eat more raw food and enjoy it and be more balanced and just having a good time. And I am so grateful to be with you on live here, and grateful that you joined the bundle. the bundle has been just unreal. Like Chris, I am so grateful.
I'm here.
You have no idea. Oh my gosh. Just so grateful for everything that you have done to help make this bundle be the way it is, because I could not have done it with you without you, that's for sure. So
me too, absolutely reciprocated, thousandfold.
So good. And it's really great. What lesson that I'm learning from this and I'm watching you guys is when people come together and work together and try and make something that has really great value for everyone involved, then it's such a powerful experience, I think.
It truly is. Yeah. And like you said in another live, you were really missing this connection, and we haven't been able to go to a festival in a really long time. And when Chris and I created the bundle, we didn't realize how amazing this was going to be. Like, everybody got on board and they were all scheduling lives, and everyone was going live and sharing their stuff, and they had topics for the lives and they were answering people's questions. And it felt like we like to call it the Bundle Festival. Like it's become its own little festival full of talks and ideas, and then the bundle itself, like all the value that's in the bundle is incredible. So I wish that I could go back to myself in 2004 when I first heard about Raw and just give myself the bundle, be like, here you go, here's everything you need. So anyone who's listening, thinking of going raw or even just eating more raw, the bundle is where it's at. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I look back to when I started off doing this, and I was following a lot of different people, and a lot of them didn't even have a book or didn't even have anything. They were just sharing their message and all that, which was frustrating to me. Like, looking back, I wanted a book. I wanted something I could follow. I wanted some clear guidance, and you know, there's a lot of people that had different ideas and everything. And I always think back whenever I get involved in something, and I'm thinking, looking back to when I was at Woodstock, for example, the first time I went, or say even before that, but if this had been offered to me when I was that person then, what would I have done? And it would have been a no-brainer. If all of that community had come together at that point and said, we're going to give all our stuff for this one price, you know, and everything, I would have jumped all over it, you know, and I'd be still reading it to this day. So I'm actually criticizing Chris for not doing it 10 years ago.
I'm sorry. I didn't have the group consensus and the group mind. You know, it took Lisa and I coming together. You know.
Yeah. Well, you guys have the respect, the influence, and the connections to make this happen. Not a lot of people did, but in order to do that, you guys have been putting out so much completely free information for years and years, and helping people all over the place and coming to events. And you know, you've obviously both proved yourself as being life. You're going to be a lifelong doing this. You know, this is definitely what you're going to do. So, Lisa, I'm struggling to even think right now.
I'm still awkwardly here, just so you know. I'm just awkwardly here, just still awkwardly here in the middle.
It's funny that Zoom is just holding you on my screen the whole time, Chris. So I'm like,
oh no, you saw that then? This is so embarrassing now.
Yeah. So where are we going with this? So listen, yeah, I've enjoyed the bundle. I've got bundle fever. I mean, I've got Instagram. I'm vibing on the lives. Where's Nate? I'd love Nate to be part of this as well. But anyway, what was your inspiration for putting this bundle? If I asked you that question, I'll get it together.
Not together. Let's see if our stories are straight.
Right. Okay. So why, from your perspective, how did this bundle come together, and how did you do it and everything? Or just like, what made you put it together?
Cool. Okay. So I wanted to also answer, someone in the chat says, I bought your previous bundle. Is this new material? Yes. This is the first ever fully raw every book in the bundle is raw bundle to exist. And I created it with Chris Kendall. So how the story goes. So if you want to get this bundle, this is like first ever, all raw. So got to click the link in bio and go grab it. It's over in 36 hours. But when Chris and I were in that last bundle that was over Christmas, New Year's kind of style, we were just texting back and forth, and we were like, yeah, there's a lot of like cooked food and other stuff in the bundle, and we were having a hard time finding a lot of raw stuff to promote for our raw people, right? Who wanted to get that bundle. And yeah, it was great because we had, you know, people could make the cooked vegan recipes for their family. There was a lot of fitness stuff, which is really great, which I love those bundles for the fitness stuff because there's tons. I mean, it's a plant-based Ben and Nimai and all of them. They have their fitness stuff in those bundles, but there wasn't a lot of raw. So we were talking to each other and we're like, it would be so great if there was a raw bundle. Like, it would be so sweet to have a raw one to share and just be like, anyone could get it. And if you were wanted raw food, you could get you could open any of the books and you'd be good to go, right? So we're both we were driving to Portland to get my green card. So it was like a 5-hour drive. And we're just like, I'm just texting with Chris, and we're just talking and whatever. And then I don't remember who it was that mentioned it, but we're like, do you want to do it? We're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so it was just born like randomly there. And so we decided, we're like, yeah, let's actually do it. So Chris has been amazing, connecting everybody and working on that. And then I took the whole back end of building the bundle and creating the website and the promotional material and all of that. Like, we've both been up late, many nights trying to get everything arranged and ready to go for this bundle. And it was like last minute, felt like, for a lot of stuff, because we're like, oh gosh, I need to do this and this and this. And I wrote 2 books for this bundle. I wrote the burger book and I wrote the food journaling book. I wrote the food journaling book in like 5 days, but I was also up until 3 a.m. to write it. But I got that done and we managed to get everything good to go. And yeah, that's how it became. It's just been so wonderful.
So let's get a little lesson out.
I was just gonna say, I love Lissa because I don't remember either who came forward and was like, we should do a bundle, but it just seemed like it actually just came together. We both thought, we're thinking the exact same thing, and whoever said it first was just like, yes. We both were just like, yes. Like,
totally, yeah. We were both, it's almost like it birthed itself. It just, the universe was like, you two are perfect for it. So it was like we both got the same idea at the same time, and neither of us remember who asked first. I'm sure we can scroll back in our chat and see, but but yeah, it was just born and we took it on. So grateful.
So something I want to get out of this is something I've been thinking about recently, which is, I don't want to use the word manifestation because it's a little bit of an overused word, but there's a lot of people who want to do something. They've got a great idea, like the bundle or whatever, but they've got a great idea and they want to make it happen, whatever it is. They want to take it from their thoughts into reality. My question for you is, can you do this without it being uncomfortable, without it being like the process of creating something like this? I think people hold back from doing things because it gets a bit difficult and then they kind of give up. But and sometimes they think, oh, I probably wasn't meant to do it. It's not right for me, you know. But from what you're saying, you had some late nights. You were under pressure. You maybe struggled at moments, and even a couple of days ago, there was a moment where the send owls crashed, and there was so many people looking to get the bundle that it actually crashed the website and stuff. So actually, I don't know why I'm rambling here, but basically the process of creativity manifestation is not always a straight line, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it definitely is difficult because if you're stepping out of your comfort zone of not creating, then it can feel a little awkward when you're learning a new program. Like, we had to learn SendOwl, which is the software that we're using to host the bundle. So we had to learn that. We were already a little familiar with it from past bundles that we'd been contributors to. So we kind of knew, but like learning it deeply was a learning curve. And now looking back, it's like, I would always go back to myself and say, thank you for taking the time to learn.
Right.
And another thing that I felt a little anxiety over is because I don't like doing paperwork or taxes or any of that stuff, because I'm a real big creator. So all of that stuff is like, I don't even want to think about it. But I was talking to my accountant and I was like, how are we going to do this? Like, how's it going to work for taxes and everything? And she's like, thank you for reaching out, because most people don't. And then they just wing it after. And so she was really grateful, but that was really stressful for me too, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. So she helped me and I did a little bit more research, and it's just, you have to take it like one piece of information at a time. Like if you can't figure something out, take a deep breath and just chill. You've always got YouTube, you've got the internet. There's lots of people on there. I searched how to pay affiliates, and I got this like massive article that totally brightened my views over it. I felt so good about it. So that's another reason why it's so important to share, because if that accountant hadn't written that blog article, I wouldn't have read it and I wouldn't have learned from it. So everybody who has experiences or who has an ebook to write or who has a course to create or something within them, create it, because you never know who's going to read it, whose life is going to change because of it, who is going to feel their anxiety lessen because you wrote a blog post or an email or whatever. So yeah, just have to work through it and really take a deep breath. Take a step back if you need to, go out in nature, just chill and get back to it when you feel like you can get back to it. But don't stop. Don't give up. Don't give up, because you can create beautiful things.
If I could say too, Ronnie, you know, I mean, I think some of the most amazing things in life and that you can accomplish come from stretching your comfort zone. You know, it comes from challenging yourself. You know, we can coast, and generally coasting goes downhill, but when you stretch yourself, you push yourself a little bit, you can achieve things you never thought of, and you can change your life and the life of other people. And, you know, it's just really a big part of life. And if you take that perspective of it being an opportunity, like something that you can grow with rather than a challenge that you're plagued by, you're going to have a way happier life, because life is always going to be full of those opportunities or challenges. It just depends on how you look at it.
Awesome, Chris.
I love it, Chris.
There's a question coming, this really good question from Aisha. What is your favorite book, or do you want to read first? No, so what is your favorite book that you want to read first from the bundle? Or what's your favorite book from the bundle you cannot say your own? And I'm going to say there's a book. There's a book that a lot of people have been mentioning. Oh,
sorry.
A lot of people have been mentioning the book Satisfying Hotel Salads by Grant Campbell. I don't know why.
Where's Grant? Did he just fish you that comment? Where is he? Is he in the chat here?
Quite a few people have been like making his recipes and stuff or trying to stuff. It's kind of like such a fun concept for a book, and it's just kind of Grant's lifestyle, being trapped in hotels and trying to make raw food, and it's a fun book. No, but I did the EFT course, was actually the first thing that I looked at, and I immediately, and I've done, I think Jane's here. I've done Jane's here in the watching. I've done some EFT with Jane Sinclair as well. You might have seen the podcast interview I did with her a little while back, some of you. But Ben had this, went over the EFT again, a lot of the similar things that Jane had taught me, but loved it. Absolutely loved it, and he had his own take on it. So I loved that. I looked at Kelsey's course, which is like a super in-depth course. I actually need to really focus on that because it's pretty high level. And I've looked through you guys' books as well, so I'm going through everything. What have you enjoyed from the? Have you even had time to look through the stuff? I guess you've had to vet it a little bit and like not throw stuff out like if it wasn't good enough, whatever.
Yeah, we had to make sure that everything was good. Like we don't want to put anything that's like way too extreme or anything like that in the bundle that could be contradictory information. So people might be confused by that. But I would say like after the bundle, we're gonna have a little chill time and can go through some of the other books, but I'm super excited. I feel the two that I'm most excited to read would be Rosalind's new book,
So awesome.
Creating Dietary Peace, and Roger's book, You Deserve Love. And it's Roger's birthday today, right?
Yeah.
Like, happy birthday, Roger.
Happy birthday, Roger.
Yeah, his book is in there too, and I want to read that one. I just love Roger and Rosalind's energies, and those are two that I really want to read. And also, I just did a live with my friend Nicole, who her book isn't about raw food, it's about detoxing your life, so decluttering and how to eco-friendly declutter, like not just throw everything away, but how to get rid of it in an eco-friendly way, and how to go forward sustainably, like what to buy new that is eco-friendly and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to go through her book too. Just like different things that aren't just recipes. Obviously, Chris and Ronnie have amazing books that I'm excited to finish going through, because I scroll through and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the next one, or I have to do live, or I have to write an email. So I'm excited to go through everything, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I made the mistake when I started to go raw vegan where I would try and I kind of thought I could learn how to make recipes sort of alone, or maybe I wasn't that bothered about making recipes. I'm not sure which one it was. And I was just making garbage recipes over and over and over, like unedible food, and just be like, then I would go to someone else's house or someone else's little party or whatever, or Woodstock or whatever, and I'd be like, how do people make this? What's the difference here? Like, this stuff actually tastes good. And then eventually started to actually listen to people and follow the recipes, follow the books and stuff like that. And I was like, why haven't I done this from the start? Like, my kind of arrogance, whatever it was, and not just accepting, like, just learn from people that have been trying it for 10 or 20 years, you know?
Totally.
So that's why I like it with the bundle. Like, yeah, don't just get it, but follow it and look at this stuff and do the recipes and follow them exactly. Like, you know, they work.
Yep, totally. I know, it's so funny. And it's interesting too. I've had people message me and they say, I love having a book from everybody, because people are like, Chris's books taste like Chris created it. Tanny Raw's books taste like Tanny Raw made them. And Lissa's books taste like Lissa made them. So like, we all have kind of like a similar flavor palette for our raw food. So there's tons of different ways to do it. And I was actually making some recipes from Jade's book, the Sausalicious book. And I was just surprised. I was like, I would not have combined certain things together the way she did. But then when I had it, I was like, wow, like this is exactly how it should be. And so following the recipes the way that we have them, but you can always switch it up too, like try the recipe, and then maybe if you wanted it sweeter, you could add more dates, or if you wanted it more lemony, you could add more lemon juice. But always try the recipe the way we create it, because we create it a specific way to have a specific flavor, and then you can alter it based on there. But yeah, like if you just try to wing it, I mean, we always can fall back on fruit. Fruit's easy, but when it comes to the salads, dressings, and the fun stuff, we gotta follow the recipe. Like Chris's cabbage rolls. Oh my God, they're so good. Oh,
you like them? You like them? I'm excited to make some dang burgers and so much more. I want to make the meatloaf lasagna that Star has, and there's so many books and recipes, all the ones that you mentioned actually too. Rosalind's, I did have the opportunity to really dig into a bunch of them, because I was behind the scenes on that part, collecting the books and vetting them and stuff like that. So I have got to look at a lot, but I'm excited to dig even deeper
and really absorb, really get that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's diverge from the bundle a little bit, as much as we love talking about it, but going raw, Lissa, why 100% raw for you, or whatever words you use, why is that the diet you've chosen?
Good question. Yeah, well, in 2004, I discovered raw foods through people that I worked with at the natural health store. I was a nutritional consultant, and I was working in shipping receiving. So I was doing a lot of work with supplements, and I was exposed to a lot of different diets and ideas, and even like the Weston Price, the Nourishing traditions or whatever. I followed that for a while. And we did a lot of diets, but I always resonated with the raw food message because it just made sense, because we're the only species that cook our food. And I was like, that was kind of weird. And the fact that it was so fresh and hydrating and alive, I wanted that for myself. So I always resonated with raw. The problem was that for the next decade, I would try to go raw and I'd have like maybe 3 days to a week. The longest I ever went raw was for 2 months, but I would always be eating high fat and low calorie because I was trying to always lose weight. So I was eating like handfuls of nuts. I was eating like 1 to 2 avocados in my smoothies with bananas. And now I'm like, why? And I wasn't eating very many salads. Like my salads were super tiny. I'd have like maybe a handful of spinach with an oily dressing. And I would eat these sun-dried tomatoes that were packed in oil because I thought oil was great. So I had all of this like high-fat food in my diet, and it was constantly making me feel super tired and lethargic. So eventually I got to a point where I was eating a lot of junk food, like the lowest point in my diet ever, Doritos for breakfast and like chicken for lunch and token vegetables for dinner because I felt guilty that I didn't have any all day. And I was drinking 2 energy drinks most days, and I was having these like heart flutters in the middle of the night. And one night I woke up with these heart flutters, and I was thinking, like, what would it be like to actually die of a heart attack? Like, what if what I'm doing, I knew what I was doing was not healthy. Obviously, I was working in the health food store, and you'd think that I would know what I was, right, I was talking about. But I still did it. I was still like into all these foods that I couldn't release. And finally that night I woke up and I was like, I need to make a change. So the next day I was like, I'm going to go raw, but I want to figure out why I can't sustain it, because there's a reason why. There has to be. So I binge watched YouTube, Fully Raw Christina, and on one of her pages, on her channel, there was somebody who commented and said, if you want to go vegan in 3 hours, watch Cowspiracy, Earthlings, and Forks Over Knives. And I was like, yay, documentaries. So I watched each and every single one of those back to back. And just like that, I was vegan. So no questions asked, I was vegan. And then I was like, well, okay, so now that I'm vegan, now what? And I defaulted back to raw because I always felt raw was the way to go. So, and I honestly thought that most vegans were mostly raw anyways. Like I didn't really think that there was like this whole junk foodie or lots of processed foods or whatever kind of vegans. So I assumed they all were high raw, and I wanted to be raw again. And the veganism is really what helped, because I had to release a lot of food, because going vegan, most of the stuff that I ate had animal products in it in some form, like cheese or dairy or whatever. So I was like, I'm going to go raw. And I started looking online, finding Chris and Tanny Raw and Jack from Raw Tropical Living. I was like watching and consuming as much as I possibly could. Went raw overnight, and I haven't gone back because I feel so hydrated. So the number one thing I feel is I'm so hydrated on raw that I rarely eat fully dehydrated stuff. Like I'll dehydrate just to marinate or warm it up or get it like solid, kind of like the burgers or what have you, but it's always still like pretty moist. I don't like to do full like kale chips. I'll do them once in a while, but it's not often, or crackers or whatever. But it's so hydrating. I just love feeling that way. And that's what I want to eat. And because I've made these decisions every single day over the last 6.5 years, it's habit. Like when I think of food, I'm like, when do I have a salad, right? Like I don't think of the old stuff anymore because I've changed my habits, and we're creatures of habit. So the more you do the same thing, the easier it becomes. But it's that initial phase of like awkwardness. So when I went raw, I realized I had to eat more. Number one, eat more and go low fat. So I was scared to go low fat at the beginning because I was like, I'm going to die because I'm not eating healthy fats. But it was like 10%, just fine. And I ended up losing 70 pounds, healing my cystic acne, regulating my hormones, joint pain gone, candida gone after 15 years. My candida went. So yeah, it's been so amazing. The high fiber to feed my good bacteria is very important to me on raw. And I honestly love the creativity. I love being able to create with raw food. I never used to really be big in the kitchen until I went raw, because I got to start creating with the food and playing with it and taking pictures. And then I was like, I need to share this stuff. So that's, in a nutshell, that's my story.
It's interesting you mentioned acne. Like that seems to be for a lot of people. That was a reason for them trying to change their diet,
Mm-hmm.
and they managed to clear it up pretty much completely, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had cystic acne, like the really hard ones that are under the skin that really hurt. I would get one like at least every day or two. I would have a new one pop up, and they were so painful and inflamed. And actually, after I went raw and I stopped breaking out, it was around like the 4 to 5 month range. I stopped breaking out in those cystic acne. I haven't had one in 6 years. Like I haven't had one, which is so nice. I've had a couple random dots here and there, but it's nothing really. It's normally if I eat higher fat, I'll get like one or so, but the cysts went away and I was left with some scarring on my cheek here and over here, just from all of the years of all of the sores that happened. And I would always look in the mirror and I would see those scars and be reminded of what I was eating in the past and how I didn't care about myself. And it was kind of sad to see it every time. But it was also nice to know that I wasn't going to make it worse. But then right before Nate and I got married, I was going to red light therapy. Like there was like this tanning salon that had a red light therapy bed. And I went in that bed, I would say like 4 to 5 times a week. And just because I was like, I might as well, right? And I was also going to hot yoga every day, pretty much. So 90 minutes of hot yoga. And I was going in this red light therapy bed and the scars went away, but it took like 9 months of doing that. And the scars went away, but I attribute that to the staying on the raw diet and those things, because you can add things to your life that are beneficial, but to get the full impact of it, you have to make sure that you're eating properly too. So your body has the tools it needs to heal properly with those other healing modalities. So yeah, the acne thing, I'm so glad that that's not a thing anymore. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
How often do you you've got some pretty complex recipes. Well, they're simple recipes, but complex in the terms of using the dehydrator, using the blender, things like that. How often do you do that? Is that a daily thing for you, or do you keep it simple most days?
Oh, most days are simple. Yeah, most days are simple. Normally it's just a smoothie in the morning and fruit for snacks. And then Nate and I will just make a really quick salad for lunch. Normally lunch is like a really low fat dressing, either no fat or just chia seeds. And we'll just pour that over a salad and eat that. And then dinner is a little higher fat. Like if we're going to do tahini, we'll put a couple tablespoons of tahini in the dressing or whatever. But dinner tends to be just another salad or an ice cream. Sometimes we'll just have an ice cream for dinner, but it's pretty simple. We like to do the more intricate meals probably about once every week or two. We do use the dehydrator pretty often for things like the ramen, but it's not like super crazy. Like we'll just create the sauce, chop the veggies, and then throw it in the sauce in the dehydrator for about an hour and a half. And then it's ready to put on our cucumber noodles or zucchini noodles or whatever. So it's not super crazy amounts of stuff, but there are those recipes that we'll plan like 2 days in advance. Like if we're gonna make Chris's pizza, it's like, okay, when do we have to start that pizza? Because we want the pizza. But yeah, it just takes planning. It's really easy to make the stuff. Like it's easy to make the sauce. It's easy to make the crust. It's easy to make it all. You just have to make sure that you plan it properly so it's ready when you're ready.
Awesome. What kind of, does it take a long time for you to prepare what you're doing, or you don't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, I don't have to think about it anymore. I normally, that's actually one of the reasons why I wrote the Food Journaling for Success book, because the best thing that we can do is plan ahead. And hardly anyone does that. When I'm doing coaching calls with people, say it's like, 10 in the morning or what have you, I'll say to them, I'll be like, so what do you plan to have for lunch today? Did you plan lunch? And they're like, no, actually.
I hate that.
Right? And that's how we are as people, right? I would say like 99% of people that I ask, if they've planned lunch or even dinner and they don't know. They have no idea. They make the decision when they're hungry, which is not the greatest time to make the decision. So planning ahead is really important. And now that we've been doing it for so long, it can take like 7 minutes, 10 minutes to blend a dressing and chop a salad. Like, it's pretty simple, especially when Nate and I are doing it together. I'll blend the sauce and he makes the salad and we're done in like whatever. And we've got our salads. But the other stuff can take a little time. Like, you take 5 minutes to blend a sauce or 10 minutes to blend another sauce for like if you're making something like a lasagna where you have to blend maybe a cheese and a pesto and a marinara, right? There's 15 minutes of blending, but then you have all the sauces and you just have to pile them on a lasagna and you're good to go, right? So there is prep involved, but when you do it, the more often you do it, the better you get at it, just like anything in life, right? The more often you do something, the better you get at it. So it's no different. But
it's so funny you're making that comment about people not planning, because I probably don't have as much experience with coaching as you guys do, but I've worked with some people, and I found that, like, when I've been speaking to someone and I'm trying to help them plan what they're going to do for the week or whatever, and it's exactly what you're talking about. Like, so what are you going to eat this week? And they say, well, I've got some fruit in the house or something, and it's just like, what in your mind are you going to eat today? Like, what have you got? Like, the rest of the week, what are you going to do? You need to like make some kind of a plan here. Like, go and buy this stuff. How much do you need? Quantities? Like, it's all obvious to me now, but I can't imagine someone that's starting off this, just like waking up in the morning and figuring out how to do this without like kind of planning it ahead. So once again, it goes back to the reason that people have put out books and things. The reason that people have enjoyed that is because everyone's made their own mistakes, and it really saves time. It saves energy to follow other people's successful steps. And I think Doug Graham used to talk about how it took him about 17 years to work out the raw vegan diet, and like for me, even me, like having access to great information when I started off, I still made loads of mistakes, even though I had the information. So I was still resisting the information a little bit. So I would say that, once you get to that point where you realize how much you can get from these books, it really helps. But yeah, it's so funny. I had some issues with someone recently with coaching where, and I don't know if you've seen this, where they have a bad day and the next day they want to fast or like not eat anything. And then they'll have maybe 2 or 3 days where they're fasting or just having a little bit, and then they end up binging again. And what, as you're saying, like, they're not really planning what they're doing. Have you ever found that?
Yeah, and this is an issue too. It's more of a mental thing, because in society, we are taught to restrict our calories to lose weight, or if you eat something wrong, you should not eat, or you should over exercise, or like you have to compensate for your mistake, right? And what I tell people is that if you make an unnecessary choice, I don't like to say it's bad, because it's all a learning opportunity. If you choose something that you didn't want to choose, it's not a bad thing, because you can learn from it. So what I tell people is, like, learn from why you made that decision. Were you tired? Was there something that you could have done to prevent that? Were you stressed out? Did you need to take time out and relax and chill and really focus on what you truly want for your life? Were you bored? Were you just watching Netflix and you just wanted something to snack on and you just went back to your old habits? How could you have avoided that in the future? Like, next time you're watching Netflix, what could you do differently? Or if you're being peer pressured and someone's like, no, you gotta have this, oh, come on, please. What could you do differently in that same situation so that you're more prepared? And people think like slip ups are failures. They're only failures if you don't learn from them. So if anyone has a slip up, you don't have to fast or do any of these crazy things. All you have to do is work on the next meal. Plan the next meal so the next meal is a good one. and learn about why you made the decision that you did. Really dig down deep into the why. What was it that made you choose that, and how could you do it differently next time? So that's what I tell people typically, because too many people feel like if they can't do it perfect, then why bother? Like, why bother doing it at all? But it's not about that. It's about doing better than you did yesterday. And you aren't in competition with anybody except the you from yesterday. So it's just being better and learning from that.
Yeah, and I was just speaking to Konstantinos earlier, just before Chris. And for those of you who are on listening, I mean, I've met Konstantinos a number of times. I like him a lot, but I never knew how much this guy knew. Like, he blew me away. I was like learning from him about binge eating, about how the mind works. He was telling me all this stuff. I was like, wow, this is like all makes sense to me. Like, he was really brought it all together. I was like, and he's got this food prep accelerator in the bundle as well. So there's so much to learn. I think, do you feel like this diet or change your diet, it kind of teaches you a lot about yourself?
100%. It teaches you so much about yourself. I actually wrote an email yesterday about some of the things that I learned most about being on a raw diet for the last, whatever, it's almost 7 years now. And I feel like some of the most impactful lessons have been to keep a promise to myself, like how to keep a promise to myself. Because on the last live, I was talking about how we make an appointment with each other. So Ronnie, you and I texted each other and we said, okay, at 11 a.m. Pacific, we're going to go live. And we keep the promise to each other. Like, we show up, we do the live, and we keep the promise to each other. But we never really keep promises to ourselves. If we promise something, if we say, I'm not going to eat this ever again, right? You know how people are like, they're like, this is the last time, I swear. This is the last time that I'm having this chips or whatever. Then it has to be the last time, right? Like, you're creating a promise to yourself, and we need to value those promises that we make to ourselves instead of saying, oh, and then the next day you're like, well, I said it was the last time, but then this is going to be the last time. And it's never the last time. I've heard people say, like, I gained 50 pounds eating stuff for the last time, right? Because it keeps going and going and going and going. You keep making those concessions to yourself, and you're not keeping that promise to yourself. And another thing that I learned was cheat days are completely unnecessary, because cheat days, like, I wouldn't cheat on Nate. That's not like, we are in a monogamous relationship and we've made a commitment to each other, and I'm not going to cheat on him because I've made that commitment. Why would I cheat on myself with something that isn't really the greatest thing that I want to eat for my body? I want the whole experience. I don't just want the taste of the pizza. I want the after effects of the pizza. I want to feel proud of myself. I want to be empowered. I want to feel hydrated. I want to be on my goals. I want to enjoy the after process, not just the flavor. So that's what's nice about the raw food. And like, there's so many great recipes that we can still enjoy the flavor, but we get to enjoy the whole experience, not just what happens here, right? Or that anticipation of eating something that we crave or what have you, that's going to stimulate us. And keeping those promises, learning about ourselves, learning why we choose the things we do, learning about the reward cycle is something that I like to talk about too, is that we are reward-driven creatures. We choose things based off reward. So traditional diet advice says, if you have a craving, distract yourself or ignore it or go do something else or what have you. Like, you're pushing that craving away, and it's just going to get worse because you're pushing it away if you don't address why you're craving. And the body normally craves when it just needs fuel. It's not actually craving pizza, it's craving fuel. So if you feed it something healthy, then the craving goes away and it's easy to deal with it. But we are reward-driven creatures, and classic diet advice says, think about all the crappy things that you're going to feel when you eat that junky food, right? When you eat the donut, how are you going to feel? Well, we're going to feel digestive upset. We're going to feel all these things, right? Guilt, regret, all that. But that's not a reward. That's not a deterrent enough to make a healthy choice, because we want the reward. In that moment, we don't care how we're going to feel. We want that reward of the donut, right? So instead, I try to get people to think of the reward of eating a healthy salad, because most of us have eaten something really healthy and felt how we felt after eating that salad. So it's like, what do you feel after you eat a salad? You feel empowered, you feel hydrated, you feel proud of yourself, you feel like you're on your goals, you feel fulfilled, you feel satiated, you're excited, you're moving forward. Like all of these things are rewards. And you're like, yes, I want those things. And you have to go back to that feeling of wow, you feel when you choose something healthy for yourself. And that is the reward. So when you have the choice between the junky food and the salad, just feel what it's like to have that salad. And it's way more enticing to eat the salad because you want those rewards. And then you just have to change your reward cycle. So I know I kind of blabbed on that one, but
No, that's great.
yeah.
Do you think is it inevitable that people will make some mistakes and fall off along the way? Do you think that's part of the journey?
Yeah, it definitely is. I know for myself, it was a decade. You said Doug Graham was 17 years. There's stuff that happens here and there that you'll learn from. And again, like I said, it's not a failure. It's a learning opportunity to learn what you're doing and how you can do it differently. But there are people who fall off, who experiment with other things. And it's just how it is for some people. And I don't believe that people need to put themselves in this box of perfection and have to be perfect all the time, because maybe they'll feel embarrassed if they said they ate something cooked or whatever. And it's like, it's not about that. It's about doing the best that you can. And I happen to not eat cooked food. And it's not because I'm scared of cooked food, but it's because I want to eat raw food. It's not what I can't have. It's what I want to have, the results that I want. And so that's how I make my choices. I don't make my choices in the moment. I make my choices based off what's going to happen in the future. Because today is a result of all the choices that I made in the past. So I want my future to be similar or even better. So, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the food journaling book that you've got.
Oh, the food journaling book is so cool. It's interactive. So you can actually fill out the forms. You can write down what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. You can check off the boxes like, did I eat what I planned to eat for breakfast? And you can check it off. And then you can reflect on what you did. Like, how did I feel this day? What could I do differently tomorrow? Did I prep properly? How could I prep better tomorrow? And the first bulk of the book is a lot of text talking about social eating, how to prep your food for success, how to choose what to eat, like what should you choose to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, how to go grocery shopping. There's a whole like, for Nate and I, it's like our shopping list that we have, like, and you can check it off. Like you can take your phone to the grocery store and actually check off what you need or what you need to get or what you got, whatever. But it's an interactive book. You can print it out. You could print the pages out if you want, or you could just use the questions and stuff as prompts and write it in your own personal journal if you'd rather do that. But it's there to really help people to learn the difference between reflective journaling and proactive journaling, because there's two different kinds. Reflective journaling is the traditional journaling that we all know of. So whenever I say someone, hey, do you food journal? They're like, oh yeah, I write down what I had for the day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you ever tried proactive journaling, where you're actually planning the night before and actually planning when you're going to do the food prep, when you're going to eat, and like, have you ever planned that way? And they're like, I haven't. Because reflective food journaling only gives us an insight as to what we chose on the fly, right? It doesn't show us or teach us how to plan ahead, which is the key to success in anything in life. You have to plan ahead in order to succeed in anything. So we need to do the same thing with our diets, especially if we're coming from a diet that we're like, and it's like standard North American, we have no idea what's going on. So we need to plan ahead until we get used to the idea and we get used to the routine and the flow. Then we don't need to really do that anymore. We've got it down, right? But in the beginning, it's so important. So I wanted people to have a tool to proactively food journal instead of just reflective journaling. And I've wanted to write that book for 3 years. And because of the bundle, Chris and I, we were like, you think we're going to get 50 books? Like, is it going to be 50? Because we were just waiting for people to get the books to us. And we really, really wanted to get over 50 books in the bundle. And I was like, we were at 48 or something, and I'm like, I'm gonna write another book for the bundle. So I was like, I wrote it in 5 days, and it was intense, but I am so happy that I wrote it, because it's something, again, like you said, people are scared to write stuff, or they're scared they don't have time or what have you. And I was like, I'm gonna get this done because I've wanted to do it forever. And yeah, so now it's in the bundle.
It's so awesome too.
So whether maybe this is a bit of a weird question, but are there people in the raw food movement that you sort of thought their message wouldn't be right for the bundle and wouldn't really fit in? Were there people that you chose not to reach out to, but who are maybe well known sort of in the raw foods community?
We reached out to as many as we possibly could. There were a bunch that wanted to join and said that they would, but then they didn't have enough time, or they backed out, which happens. But we're hoping that the next bundle we can get 100. We'd love to get 100, but yeah, it really depends. If it's like super high fat and keto, obviously that's not something that we resonate with. And we didn't want to have really strong contradictions in the bundle. Yeah. People would be like, they'd be like
10 reasons to not eat fruit or something.
Yeah. Right? Or like, fruit is evil. Like, I'll be like, no, that doesn't go in this bundle. So it's not that we are trying to exclude them. It's just that it doesn't resonate with the overall message of the bundle. And another thing too is like oil-free. We want to make sure that everything is as oil-free as possible. I know there's like a random couple recipes in the bundle that might have some oil, like people can skip those if they're oil-free, but that's like kind of the overall theme of the bundle. We want it to be a safe place for people to get any of the books and know that it's okay to make something from the book, and know that they can learn from these people, and it's not going to contradict. I know everyone does raw like slightly differently, and some people like here and there, it's not like a be all end all perfect, everyone has to be the same, but the overall general message, we want it to be low fat, high carb, lots of calories, make sure you eat abundantly, and no oil, no animal products, obviously, because it's vegan. But yeah, so that was kind of the basis for our choices. And it's tough because we want to include everybody, but we also want to keep the message level and balanced. So yeah.
So I just want to I'll just show the page to people who've not seen it. I'll just bring it on the screen for people on Zoom. Hopefully I can do this. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, look at you.
This is the page that you get to. If you go to one of our links in our profiles or fruitfest.co.uk/bundle, I've got a video about. I'll tell you more about it.
See if I can switch.
Go down a little bit. The first thing I want to say is this: it just scrolls down and down and down and down and down. It goes on for ages and ages. And ages and ages, it keeps going and keeps going. Eventually you get to the bottom, right? So it's a ton of stuff. It must be, I don't know, thousands and thousands of pages. Nate was making a great point about the number of years of experience of all different people. He was saying 150. I thought he was being really conservative. I thought it was hundreds and hundreds of years of experience.
Yeah, I honestly think that it's close to 300. Chris, we need to like do a little calculating and see how many years there are. We should have that as one of the stipulations when we say to give us your bio and your headshot. Be like, also, how long have you been raw vegan or vegan or whatever, right? And then we can just add it all up and see the total amount of knowledge that is in this bundle is unreal.
Absolutely, because just a handful of people, it's over 300, 400 between them. You're like, there's a lot of long-termers in here. So
yeah, definitely. So you've got recipe books here, and these are brand new ones that you guys have made, and Nate as well, Melissa's husband, if you don't know. He's got his book Dude Food, which is a choose your own adventure, really cool book. And Chris's partner Camilla with sweet treats and smoothies. So there's savory recipes, gourmet recipes, there's sweet recipes. There's a business course here with Ted Carr, and many people are interested in learning new ways of making an income in the modern world. So that's going to be a lot of great information. You've got this fantastic book, the Hormone Boost Plan. I've checked that out a little bit as well. Karen Ramsey, someone's about 20 years experience in the raw food movement or more. Then you've got more books here. Olivia Herzog. I don't know Olivia so well. I think I might have met her maybe, but I don't know her so well. But I've watched her, what she does on the recipes she does on Instagram have been amazing. I also saw her live with the famous entrepreneur Jesse Itzler. She was like living with him and making food for him. That was really cool to watch.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. She's basically staying with a bunch of billionaires, like making raw food for them or whatever. And so, and then and more. Curtis, he's got 30, 40 years experience in raw food. Curtis Griffin. Lexi, this is a great book. Got into Konstantinos. This is another guy, 40 years in the raw food movement. Aris Latham, the father of gourmet raw cuisine.
Right. And everybody who got the bundle, don't worry. Aris is getting his book ready right now. And we will send an email out, a mass email to everybody who bought the bundle. Yeah. When his book is ready, we're still waiting for it, but it'll be worth the wait. I know it.
This is the best one right here, Satisfying Hotel Salads. Creating Dietary Peace. Yeah, I mean, Rosalind's not really had a book. I think she's got books, but I've never really seen it. I've seen her have a children's book. She's never brought any books to UK Fruitfest, to distribute or whatever.
Yeah, and she made this really exciting bundle. She made it specially because of the bundle. It was so beautiful that she wanted to contribute that.
And that's a brilliant thing in itself. That the initiative it's like Grant said, it gave him a deadline to actually finish his book,
Yeah, totally.
So, and books for kids, books for adults, books for families. Amazing. So, yeah, everyone check it out. See if it's for you. It finishes tomorrow, so don't delay. And we highly encourage you to check it out.
Yes. Grab the bundle and enjoy. You can get the bundle from anybody's link as well. So whoever you want to get the bundle from is totally fine. Just go to any of them and check it out. Bundle, go grab the bundle.
It's bundle fever.
And once it's gone as is, right? We are thinking of doing it again, but it'll be totally different. So if you like this bundle, get this bundle because it's going to kickstart you into a raw diet, adding more raw and learning a lot. You're going to learn a lot.
Well, I definitely think what you said to me was if you're part of it again, you should create something completely new for it.
Yes.
And I think that's what everyone should do if they get the opportunity to be involved again. So I put a book in this that I'd already had out there, but for sure if we do it in the future, I'd put something else.
Yay, I want to see something new from Ronnie. That's another thing that a lot of bundles that we see out there, people are already putting the stuff that they already have. And most people already have that stuff. If they're following you and they like you, they're like, oh, I already have that book. I'm not going to get the bundle. I don't know, right? But this bundle I think it's 37 of the books. So there's 65 total. I think 37 or with Eris, it's going to be 38, I think. New books, like brand new, never before released content. So when we do bundles, we want to release brand new content. So it's new for you. It's new for everybody. And we all get to enjoy and learn from each other. And new stuff is always good too, because we're always updating information. We're learning new recipes. We're creating new stuff. And new is so nice to have something fresh. So I can't wait to see what you create, Ronnie and Grant and Chris and everybody. I'm all excited to see.
Yeah. I would think hard about, because I'm looking through that and I'm just thinking, is there any area that wasn't covered fully or that could have been went into more detail? So I think that's quite interesting. You're bringing up Aris. I think he's the Love Fruit podcast that I do where I interview people. I think his interview's been listened to by more people than any of the others. I don't know why, but I think it just him and Michael Arnstein's kind of went a little bit viral on YouTube. So I guess it's from so many years and so many people knowing him in the the raw food community.
Yeah.
So Grant is here now. Grant, do you want to jump on and say hi? Can we hear you?
Hi, this is Grant.
Oh no, there's a doppelganger, a doppelgranter. Hey Ronnie,
so
how you doing?
I think I'll end the Instagram live now, Lisa, if that's okay. So at least I'll have that video, and we'll stay here, or at least I'll stay here with Grant, and we'll keep going. But thank you for joining us on Instagram, and click on the link in one of our profiles to check out the bundle. Thank you very much for watching today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thanks, Lisa, Chris, you're legends.
Sweet.
We love you.
Hey,
We love you more.
Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah. So we're now just on Zoom. And Grant, sorry, I'm just finishing off something on my phone.
I have to apologize, guys. I got to run away. It's good to see you, Grant. My
Lovely
bladder's
to see
about
you
to
too,
die.
Chris. Thanks for telling me that I'm cute.
You are cute.
In the private background messages nobody sees.
Yeah, exactly. I sent direct messages telling him how cute he is. And then you sent me some pictures.
They're the real
of
sex.
Salads. Have fun, guys. Love you.
Bye, Chris. I will see you in DMs.
Very soon. Very soon.
Yes,
Be well. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah, so Grant, I've been heavily promoting you the last hour or so. Your book, Hotel Salads, is part of the bundle, and it's a really fun book. And I just liked it because it's such a creative, different idea. Just like the same with the way that Melissa made a book just about burgers, Chris made a book about pizza. Melissa's got another book. I'm trying to remember the one that you've done another book on another topic, but make very specific topics, which I quite like. But how did you come up with the Hotel Salads concept, which I think is a registered trademark of, like, you own it as an idea?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thou shalt not make a book with that in the title. It's just such a fitting time for such a book, like with all lockdowns and quarantines and all these crazy things happening in the world. You've got to be able to make simple food without leaving home, right? Just not even in your own home. You could be anywhere in the world, just stuck in a hotel. I've been in a hotel here in Mexico for the last almost 4 months. Hey Nate. And last 4 months, and just every night I make a salad, and every night it's a little bit different, but every night it's also quite a lot the same. And I just make variations, and I started taking photos of my meals and just sending it to a friend, and then I thought, you know what, I could probably turn this into an ebook. When Chris contacted me and asked me to join the bundle, and I knew Lisa was in that with Chris, being the masterminds behind it, putting all the midnight hours into making it all happen. And I thought, you know what, yeah, those I'm not a professional photographer, and I just took the photos with my computer, and I think the first 10 or so days of photos completely sucked, and I couldn't use them, and and then I started getting better angles and realizing what I really wanted, like the full screen kind of shots of the food, rather than actually trying to get the bowl and having all decorations all around it and fruit all around it and having, some picture in the background and all these kind of things. But because then the food gets so small that it becomes irrelevant or ineffective. So I started taking better photos. And
volume 2? Are we going to see a volume 2, Grant, in the next bundle?
There's definitely going to be in the next bundle for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be different. I'll step it up. I don't know if I can top Nate's tailgate salads, but I'll try to think of something.
I think they go hand in hand, bro, because tailgate during the day, you're back at the hotel at night. Perfect.
Exactly. Maybe mobile salads. How about making a salad in the back of a truck while you're like four-wheeling or mudding or something?
Yeah. And with the inverter, you could even blend your dressings on the maybe the shotgun is the dressing maker.
Right.
I mean if cooked fooders can cook things on their engine while they're driving, it's got to be easier to make a raw salad, surely.
Yeah, 100%. I always thought it'd be kind of cool to have a dehydrator plugged in. So, you know, you could have a burger when you get to your spot. Just throw it in the dehydrator while you're driving along and you get there. All right, burger time.
You need a button so it gets flipped from the dehydrator straight to the driver, you know? Like you want that quick delivery. You don't want any pit stops, you know?
Oh, love it. Hey, love you guys. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Nate. Oh, the Ice Cream King.
Yeah, so it was a convenient idea to just use those photos to make a book, and you know, like all great ideas, it was just I just had some creativity, and I thought, yeah, I can do that. That makes it practical. I knew I didn't have much time to make the book because I've been working a lot, doing my IT work that I used to make money. So yeah, I just went that way and just threw in and just kept it so simple. Like I didn't even put the directions really like too much. I just wrote the ingredients and then put a comma after each ingredient and wrote grated or chopped or finely chopped or diced. Or
I was going to ask you about that.
I didn't even write stir the ingredients together, you know, because it's so obvious. Everyone knows how to do that. So it's like we can see what's in the picture. Like,
yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I was reading the recipes and it said directions and ingredients below, and it was just, as you're saying, it was like as simple as that, and that's what it's so funny because we've all been in that situation. We've all been in that situation where we've been in a hotel, Airbnb, whatever, and it might be you've got in late and there's a place open and you go and get stuff, and it's really fun. I mean, I always like that, like going out and trying to get some food for a raw foodist for the night. So I really related to that concept.
Absolutely, like my hotel is next door to the best like bulk Whole Foods, fresh fruits and vegetables kind of store in Playa del Carmen here in Mexico, and they close at 8 p.m. and sometimes I don't get to dinner until late because life happens, and so I'll race out and I'll have like 5 minutes to buy things for dinner, or I'll miss them and they close, and then I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to make food from? And I just look at what I have and make something from it, and that's totally cool, and it's fun to do that and be creative. It's like, how can I turn this into a meal? And it's the same thing when you travel somewhere new. You go there and you don't know necessarily what is in season, what foods you're going to find in any particular fruit and vegetable store. You know, the avocados may not be ripe, on and on and on. So you look, you find what is attractive and appealing and maybe affordable, if that's often an important factor as well, the price. And you buy what you can and make a meal out of it. And I'm, some of my meals aren't as delicious as others when certain foods aren't available, but I always enjoy my meals knowing that I bought the best that was available on that particular day. In those moments, given the constraints, I did the best I could, and that always gives me peace of mind, and knowing that I nourished and nurtured myself in the best way possible given the conditions that I was provided with, and so that helps me sleep easy at night, and I feel good, and I love what I eat, so I'm never disappointed.
Yeah, I something I want to say about you, Grant, is and I've said this before, and you're in Mexico right now, right?
Yeah,
I would say if anyone can get out to Mexico and hang out with Grant, like you're not going to find. I think that there's very few people that are as good an example of the raw vegan lifestyle as yourself. There's a few others because you keep a very high standard for yourself, right? You set a very high standard. You also eat a huge volume of food. Like you just don't hold back. You love fruit so much. You have such a passion for it. I think it's invaluable getting a chance to be around you. And but why have you chosen to do such a I don't use the word unusual for me, but to other people, unusual diet or minority interest diet, whatever you want to call it? And why 100% raw? What are your reasons?
I mean, I do it because it works and because there's nothing that matches it, and certainly nothing that's better. Everything else I ever tried in life didn't work as well. So I do it for the results, all of the results, not just for taste. I think it's the winner from a taste perspective. I think it's a winner from a texture perspective. It's a winner from color and beauty of the meal perspective. It's a winner from availability. It's a winner for price. It's the cheapest way I can eat. It's a winner from a health perspective. It's a winner from even socializing, because I get to socialize with people that I connect with even more than all the shallow conversations that happen in a cooked food restaurant while everyone's poisoning themselves, or or eating themselves to sleep into a slumber. So, it's a winner from the perspective that I can eat and then I can just go running. Like I'm never out of action because I just ate something, So there's a lot of reasons, and it's a winner from the bathroom perspective. It's pleasant to pee and it's a pleasure to poop. It's like, I mean, it's just everything is cleaner. It, smells, skin quality, like brain, like clarity, mental clarity, just everything. But mostly I love that it's helped me to connect more deeply with myself and with others. And when I say others, I mean, I include nature and animals and just all life and everything. Like it's such a more colorful, beautiful world. It's enriched my life in so many ways. And diet is really nothing at the end of the day compared to everything else that happens in life that's of value to us. But without a diet that supports your physiological needs, you're kind of lost. So, but diet, like, I don't know, like I'm eating delicious foods here every night, but I'm eating them here alone a lot of the time. And so it's not as meaningful as, being at a festival, having other people to hang out with and stuff like that. And so, sometimes I'm eating like the most delicious thing in the world, but it's not really like as amazing an experience as it would be if I was sharing it with somebody.
Do you remember? Yeah, I mean, do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. It was a couple of years ago. The Woodstock Fruit Festival was one of the first nights, and they brought out these sugar apples or something.
Oh, they were amazing.
I don't know if you remember. And we were all at a table eating these sugar apples, and
from Miami Fruit, and they were going bad before the festival. So as like volunteers that came early, we got to eat them all before the festival.
And that was just such a weird experience. Like we couldn't stop eating them. Like you made this comment, usually when you eat fruit, once you've had the seventh or eighth or 10th, they don't taste as good, but they were tasting better and better each time. It was really strange.
Yeah, and that's the thing with quality, like really good quality. It can, because of the high quality, it can be more satiating, but other times it's just more alluring. And some foods aren't really that filling. Like those particular custard apples, they weren't as sweet as the ones we get in Australia, like the pink mammoth, huge custard apples. They're so sweet that I eat like 5 of those and I'm like, like I'm almost like on the verge of diabetes. It's like what just happened? There's so much sugar in my system, even for me. And I can eat like, I've eaten like 70 bananas in a day, and had no problems. So, yeah, like some things are just really sweet, but those ones just had a really delicate balance of the whole flavor and texture, and just like they were perfectly right, and they weren't like overly sweet, like, so you could just keep eating them, and like nothing was building. As long as you had the appetite, like the stomach capacity, which we do, the sugar level never became overpowering.
That's right. They were like perfectly in the bliss zone. Like they weren't, they were
like jackfruit. I can eat jackfruit for like 3 hours. I can just eat like a huge full, like, like I don't know.
It's such a great lesson.
Jackfruit in one sitting.
Yeah.
But it'll be a 3-hour sitting.
It's such a great lesson for everyone to learn. Like most people come from the standard diet where sort of restriction is a part of it, whether people think they're restricting or not. Like people are holding back. They know they're going to feel bad if they eat too much. They don't want to have too much sugar. They want to have too much sugary stuff. And I get really sad if I offer people fruit and they enjoy it, but they don't want to eat too much of it, and they hold back. And this lifestyle is really about this completely embracing the food that is perfect for our anatomy, the raw foods that are perfect for us, and being able to eat them to your heart's content, and it literally being actually how much your body really wants is in line with how much you can actually eat, but basically like it is harmonious like that. So you're a great example of the idea that it's an abundance lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and the more you do it, and the more you get used to it, the more you kind of learn these things that we should have learned as babies, you know, taught by our parents, being fed, you know, peeled grapes as an infant that's coming from breast milk to food. But yeah, the more we learn what's in season and what ripe is for each fruit, and how many calories you get from, like, how many blueberries do you need to eat for a meal, things like that, it gets easier and more satisfying, and you just kind of don't even need to think about it at some point. Like it just becomes, it's like, I really think it's in our nature, but just because we're learning as adults, it's a kind of a forced learning procedure, and there's a lot to learn, and there's no definitive source really to learn everything from. Like, you know, it's not just like a dictionary or a, you know, where you can learn all the meanings of words. Like, for example, there's not just one source to learn everything about this diet and lifestyle. There's some great sources, like your book, for example, Ronnie, or the 80-10-10 diet is a fantastic resource, and you know, but I think you know, even more important than just having a single resource is that has everything. It's just the fact that having all these beautiful recipe books and things in the bundle, you know, like having those things helps you to connect more with community. So as you're learning, you're also connecting, and I feel like that's so important. It's a thing that gets overlooked by a lot of people that just maybe just go for information only and try to do it all at home on their own. Is that they're always missing that connectedness. You know, a lot of people feel that the contention between themselves and their family, for example, as they change their ways, and the family doesn't follow, and the family's worried, and you know, maybe you're losing some weight at first because you're not eating enough calories, and your family's worrying about that and worrying about this, and that doesn't feel nice when people are worrying about you, and it just makes it all harder. But if you have like-minded community that can say, oh yeah, that usually happens within the first, maybe it takes you 6 months to figure out how to eat enough calories, but you know, stick with it, and you know, you'll find that you'll figure it out, you know, over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And you know, and if you don't, then look into it deeper. But it's so common for people to, you know, when I first went cooked vegan, I lost some weight, and then when I went raw vegan, I lost some weight, but then I had so much more energy that I started, so I started exercising and also eating more because I was exercising more. So I gained the ability to put that weight back on, and I also gained some weight in muscle. Not that I'm like hugely muscled or anything, because strength hasn't been a huge priority for me apart from to help my running. But I certainly converted, you know, some, like, you know, skinny fat kind of muscle into like actual functional muscle, but, you know, lean muscle. And you know, muscle weighs more than fat, so you can be kind of leaner and end up with a heavier weight, which is also a challenge for some people that focus just on weight. They lose weight, but then they start getting more muscled, and they put that weight back on, but they look so much more amazing with a cleaner, trimmer kind of body, but they weigh the same as what they started out at. So if the goal is to lose weight, that can often be the wrong goal. You know, for people, it should just be to have a better physique, to look healthier, to not have excess body fat, but to, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's important that something I've been thinking about recently is, like, if some people watching, part of your motives, maybe you're not clear about this or not, but I think if some people's motives for changing their diet is to look better, like to be more attractive, to feel more attractive, to lose weight, that's a completely valid and legitimate reason. If that's the most important reason for you, I think that's a great reason. And I think, like, sometimes that can be a really motivating reason for some people. And yes, the benefits are going to outweigh that and probably going to be more important. But what do you think about that, Grant? Do you think
I think it's like, I hear what you're saying, and I do agree in principle, but I also feel like it's a dangerous kind of route to go down because it's very subjective.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to compare yourself now to yourself in the future, to yourself a month ago or 2 months ago. Sure, we can take photos and look at those photos, but as we know, it's difficult. It's almost impossible to take the same photo twice months apart because the lighting is different, the angle is different. So many things. You can have guys can have like a light, bit of stubble on their face, and that completely changes the look of the photo, or whatever it is. So I think aesthetics. I prefer to for those to be the side effect of healthful living, and I prefer to focus on becoming your ideal weight and body type as a side effect of healthful living, but the practice should be healthful living. The focus shouldn't be on the aesthetics. The focus shouldn't be on weight loss or weight gain, or even really muscle gain or muscle loss, but really just live healthfully, do the things, live in a way that's going to build the physique you want in 3 years or 5 years from now. So if you want to be more muscular, you need to start doing workout, getting enough sleep so the muscles repair and build, and just be consistent with living healthfully while you're doing whatever activities you want to do to become who you want to become. And those aesthetic aspects will just be a natural side effect of how you're living. They shouldn't really be, I think, the focal point or the reason. I think there should be a deeper reason. The deeper reason is because I want to feel awesome. I want to, I mean, that's the thing. To play and connect with people and be around for a long time.
That's the thing that enters my mind. If someone offers me something that's less than ideal, the thing I'm thinking about is how it's going to make me feel. I know that it tastes good or whatever it is, but the immediate thing I'm thinking about is I'm not going to like how I feel, and I don't feel myself when I eat unhealthy, and I don't want to not feel myself, even if it's just for an hour or two or whatever.
I like a quote that Doug says a lot, nothing tastes as good as feeling good feels. That always resonated with me. I think that's a really cool way to say it.
Yeah. And the feeling bad part lasts so much longer than the convenient taste.
Or it's just so much more profound that it's just not worth it. I don't want to feel discomfort ever if I don't need to. I want to feel discomfort from training hard or pushing myself, but I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel digestive discomfort. I don't want to feel lost. I don't want to not feel like myself. I don't want to feel depressed, or I don't want to feel just not myself. And this way of living, even with I did a water fast, 29-day water fast, 13 years ago. And that was profound and amazing, but I haven't done one since. And I feel awesome all the time. You don't even need to go to those kind of lengths to, I got a lot out of that in personal development and through just being alone with myself, having nothing to distract myself from growing.
I mean, I kind of feel like
it's necessary if you're living a healthful lifestyle.
When you're talking about water fasting, I always think that I know so many people that have done water fasting and then not maintained a good diet afterwards, and you're an example.
That's because they didn't know how to beforehand.
Right.
I would say.
What is your typical day look like at the moment for you? Food wise. Yeah, food, diet wise, activity wise.
Yeah, right now.
Sleep wise as well.
Yeah, sleep now is the worst possible example of my sleep cycles. but I value sleep dearly. I definitely and that water fast I was mentioning was a profound time where I got so much sleep that that was when I first got a new benchmark for what well rested means and how good that feels and how much better you are when you're well rested in terms of creativity and just mental, just having an open flow, an uninhibited flow of thought, and having great insights and things like that, and just better quality life. But sorry, what was the specific question? You said
Your daily
routine
and diet at the moment?
Daily routine right now is that I've been staying up late trying to catch up on an IT project that I'm behind on because of, I've been spending all this time on the bundle and stuff as well. So it's been a bit of a, get behind on one, catch up on the other, catch up on one, get like, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't really want to miss out on anything that I see value in. So, doing the work, I make money, and that helps me to travel and be at festivals and do things that I love. And on the flip side, if I'm working all the time, I miss out on other stuff. So I've been staying up late trying to catch up on IT stuff, and then I've been sleeping in the morning. So I kind of like break my own principles there a little bit because I totally know that I'm more productive when I'm well rested. So I'd be better to just go to sleep early, get up the next morning and then work. But I just keep trying to get more into the day, that the current day, which I know is a kind of fallacy, but I keep kind of going there because I know like during the day I get, there's a lot of distractions with people trying to connect with me all the time, which is something I've created in my life because I love that people contact me and ask me things all the time. And I love that space. So I wouldn't change it, but it's just, I know I can get things done more at nighttime. So I'll stay up late. This is my pattern lately. I'll stay up late, sleep in, have a meal sometime probably around lunchtime. I've been drinking quite a bit of coconut water and orange juice here because fresh juice is easy to get. And then I'll have a salad in the evening. And that salad will be typically exactly like what's in my Satisfying Hotel Salads book. Just a big bowl of salad. There was you commented that one of the recipes I think had maybe 3 avocados in it. and I think that one I remember was at a time when I was running like a marathon, like a day, like I was adding an extra mile each day through January, and every day I'd run a mile further, and I got up to running a marathon. And the day before was like a mile less than a marathon. 2 days before was 2 miles less than a marathon. So it was all cumulative. And I was just getting real hungry, and my days were getting short. I was spending 5 hours running or whatever in a day. and
definitely when you start to get hungry, the avocados start to call your name a bit more.
Yeah. But I have no problem eating more fruit, but I just literally I couldn't find enough time in the day to keep getting my work done.
Yeah.
Keep the social aspects, social media kind of stuff going, and and keep the running going. Because I'd committed to that running, and I was going to get it done.
I just remember you're talking about lots of avocados. Christina at the festival, the UK Fest a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I was giving a talk, and she was in the audience. She was at our table eating. And I was like, is she eating 8 avocados in her meal?
Yeah.
It was loads of avocados.
With so much salt on it, more salt than I could imagine ever putting in my body. I think it would kill me if I ate that much salt, really.
And but next day she did, no bloating, nothing like that. She's whatever.
Well, I mean, that's the way salt works. If you've been doing it for months, you've adapted your aldosterone levels so that you don't retain fluid. Your body gets used to throwing off excess sodium really easily.
Yeah.
Whereas because I don't eat salt, my body has higher aldosterone levels, so I hold on to my sodium better. But that means if I do eat salt, then I can't get rid of it easily, and my body has to retain a ton of water, and I'll just puff up like there's no tomorrow, like the Michelin Man.
You've been around a lot of retreats. You've been to fasting retreats. What have been some of the best examples, maybe the best stories of of people's healing journeys? People have come in really sick and left a different person and things like that. Have you seen that a lot with the raw vegan lifestyle and fasting as well?
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen really amazing things happen. I mean, I've seen more than 100 people do a 3 or 4 week water fast at Doug Graham's events, and that was pretty amazing. I mean, there was a guy that came in with a 70-year-old man that had his prostate was done. He had stage 4 cancer, and prostate cancer, and he was peeing like 33 times a day, I think it was. And just, because he just couldn't, and it would be painful and all that kind of stuff. And by the end of the fast, he was like peeing like a normal kind of quantity, like 10 times a day, or some, like it was in the realms of normal, which to me would be like 8 to 12 times a day, kind of, if you're hydrated, eating a fruit-based kind of raw vegan diet. The number of times you pee per day would be that kind of number, not counting, just like only counting things with some volume in it. And yeah, he was down to those sort of numbers. So that to me showed that his prostate had kind of wasn't as swollen and in a bad state. And then he had good news from the doctors when he got back. The thing with this is like, it would take a lot of time to try to stay in contact with people like that after the fasts. So a lot of them I never really saw, like what happened a year later, 5 years later. But I know this guy's still alive. So that alone says a lot. Because if he stayed on the path he was going, he wouldn't have been alive anymore. So that's cool. But then I've seen the other cases as well, where people come in and fast, but then they just kind of run away again when they get back in their home environment. They go back to old habits, and people literally like would choose to die rather than like live healthfully. And I think there's deep psychological reasons behind why people do that. I think they spend their whole life practicing avoiding confronting their fears and confronting their inner demons, whether they were like abused as a child or just verbally abused or whatever it is, or maybe just their own like self-image of themselves has maybe always been a negative one. And when you practice that for decades, continuing that kind of those negative kind of thoughts or emotions or behaviors, it becomes your way, and your self-talk can fly under the radar because nobody else can hear it, right? So if you're always telling yourself things that keep you down, it can be difficult to change that. Yeah. And I find fasting does help people to face that, but it's kind of up to them whether they really like dive all in and be completely vulnerable and surrender to it, or whether they kind of shy away from it and keep running.
Yeah. I think that it's kind of sad that like that people are like the fasting doesn't always fix everything, long term or whatever.
There's no panacea for for emotional trauma, like other than just doing the work to get through it. And that's really up to you. You can have a supportive environment and still keep sabotaging your own health and your own success. Supportive environment helps, obviously. Great role models helps. Education helps. But then you've also got education, which could be misinformation, which can hinder. And you can have strong role models who are negative influences that hinder you, that make you maybe worry more or be more paranoid. And so it's a tough gig. And hats off to the kind of the psychologists and people that do work with people where they actually understand the individual, get to know the individual well enough to actually be able to help them. Because I think professionally, most people that provide emotional counseling, it's difficult to get to know somebody so well because you only know what they're sharing with you, right? And it takes quite a talent to draw out the truth and it just takes many hours and days and weeks and months to really get to know someone's deep and dark psyche. And there may be only certain situations would bring that negativity out. And
I think that something I would say is like the people that are watching this or the people that get involved in this lifestyle, even if you've not made a complete change yet, or you've not even made your first steps to a healthier direction, the fact that you have the awareness and the consciousness to actually be asking this question, to actually be reflecting on what you're doing and considering making a change and kind of having a conversation, an honest conversation with yourself where you're saying, is what I'm doing contributing to my problems? Can I change it? Am I willing to change it? that puts you so far ahead of so many people. So many people I feel are in complete denial about the situation with their health, with their diet, with everything. And I think something I'm hearing from you, what I'm kind of picking up is, and something I felt when we've been doing the bundle, and I've been asking myself, what's different about all the people that are in the bundle and they've changed their diet, they've done all this, and it's I think there's a level of connection with themselves and a willingness to be really honest with themselves above, and that being more important to them than the convenience of diet, the convenience of pleasure, short-term pleasures. And that this kind of path of growth is something that everyone's been through, I guess. And yeah, I think what I'm hearing from you is there's people that maybe because of their background, things that have happened to them, that they are very disconnected from themselves and even their own feelings and their own truth.
Yeah, definitely. And what I'm hearing you saying is just also bringing other thoughts to mind, such as like, water fasting with a guru or whatever is someone experienced. Is usually quite expensive because you're hiring a facility and you've got to pay the rent and staff and all that kind of stuff. And so in the same way that people that buy a gym membership don't get healthier or fitter if they don't actually use the membership, but they feel better about themselves for having purchased the membership, I feel like, perhaps people with fasting, like, they've got the money and they'll pay for it, but they're not really committing to it. Whereas people coming to to like something like this or these they're making the effort to kind of like sit on a Zoom session for a significant amount of time. It's a totally different experience to just putting some money on something but not really being committed. So yeah, I think people have the fact that people are here, and the same thing at the fruit festivals. There's so much like-mindedness, and by like-mindedness, I think it's like really like along the lines of of what you're saying. In order for somebody to be willing to change their diet and lifestyle to like eat only raw foods and like do something completely different to what everyone else is doing and to what everyone else thinks is normal and healthy, at least on a superficial level, they think it's healthy. It takes a lot of self-reflection, takes a lot of insight, takes confidence, and kind of like a rational position, but also being in touch with like intuition to actually be in this space and kind of be interested in this kind of thing. Because as you see, it's not for everybody, like most people aren't ready for it. You try to have a conversation with most people and they can't even get past the protein thing, let alone have a real discussion about like emotional kind of stuff. Everywhere you look, people are, they're not willing to go deep into emotion. The fact that people can't even have a conversation without getting into an argument about diet or religion or politics or, things like that. It just shows that people have a lot of triggers. And I think triggers are parts of ourselves that protect us from going deep into something where we feel uncomfortable. So we don't like feeling uncomfortable, so we just don't go there, and we spend our life building practices to suppress, like to avoid, to hide, to avoid showing that space to anybody else, to avoid going there yourself, to avoid. So those protective mechanisms may seem like good sort of things to protect ourselves from getting hurt but really they protect us from growing. They're useful. Coping mechanisms are useful in a survival situation, but outside of that, I don't think any of us are in survival situations. I certainly hope none of us are. But yeah, I think, in our environment today in society, at least for the vast majority of people, we're not in survival situations, and coping mechanisms should be faced and dealt with and just shine a spotlight on them, and they'll go away, because they never hold water when they don't have any credibility. They're not rational. They don't make sense. They don't help you in any way other than to survive in a desperate situation. So I think for most people coming to this lifestyle, it's about letting go of beliefs that don't serve us, of addressing, like, accepting who we are, and not feeling shame, not feeling guilt, not feeling regret, just kind of basically accepting the present moment for all of its ups and downs, and working forward from there with the best decisions that we can make in each and every moment. And I feel like people that come to this sort of lifestyle in any capacity, whether they're just into it, just starting out or not, they've gone down that path, and it's a beautiful path. I don't think it has an end. I think it just keeps getting more and more beautiful the further you explore the path. And it's all about, self-love, self-nurturing, otherly love, otherly nurturing, just deeper and deeper connectedness with yourself, with others, with whatever your belief system is, with source, with God, with spirit, with whatever.
Is there anyone that'd like to ask a question of Grant, and if anyone wants to come on and chat about or talk, or just write a question down below in the chat, feel free. We've got about 15 minutes left scheduled, but I'd love to see if anyone wants to participate. I hope you don't feel like you can't join in or give a question or something.
I love questions. The tough. I love tough questions too. Hit me with them.
Yeah, I've asked you so many questions that thanks for your thoughts, Grant.
Yeah, you're welcome, Eugenio.
You're in Mexico right now. Do you have any plans the rest of the year? Do you want to get back out to Thailand, Australia, Europe?
Thailand has just gone crazy again with locking down stuff. So my retreats definitely aren't happening this year. They're going to be delayed till next year again.
Thailand locked down even more.
Yeah, they've had 40 cases or some crazy number. Like no deaths, no hospitalizations. Let's shut everything down. And that's just the Thai culture. They're warriors. They're beautiful people. I love them, but they are kind of warriors, and they do. I think a lot of the population isn't, they're farmers and stuff like that. They live rurally, a lot of the population, and so they're not super educated. So they don't, they're going to sort of read. They're going to kind of basically accept whatever professional advice is given to them from the top down, because they don't have the means of debunking, discerning between lies and truth.
So Grant, we've got a question from Eugenio. Are you there, Eugenio?
Can I ask something related long days of exercise?
Eugenio, can you speak? Can we hear you? Is your microphone on?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, hello, Grant. Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for organizing.
Hey, man.
Good to see you. Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah. So, Grant, I want to check with you because I know that you do long runs, and we ran a few days there in the UK Fruitfest when we met. Probably you don't remember. You met many people through the year. But, I'm training for a triathlon this year. And short distance is the Olympic distance,
Yeah, I've done a sprint distance before.
Great. No, this was not sprint. It's the Olympic.
Not sprint.
One.
It's Olympic. Yeah, Olympic. Sure.
But you know what is happening when I'm going for long days of cycling? I would say 3 hours and a half, 4. I feel quite hungry if I have a big breakfast of fruit after an hour of 15, an hour and a half. I'm starting feeling quite hungry in my cycling. So do you normally, when you go for long days of running or you have a long day running, how do you feel yourself?
that really.
And because as well, I wanted to do. I was meant to do it the last year, but of course with this whole COVID, that's my first marathon. But I'm postponed it for next year. So yeah, I really want to start having a better approach to, to how to feel myself prior to the event.
Yes, there's many reasons why you can feel, you said you feel hungry, but myself and I'm sure pretty much everyone on the planet can feel hungry, not necessarily when you are hungry, but like for example, if I'm dehydrated, I'll feel less energy. My legs might feel heavy running, and it might take me a long time to run up a mountain if I don't eat a banana or so, like 10 minutes before going up the mountain, for example. But if I do eat a banana or two, then I just go up the mountain effortlessly. So, but I may not have necessarily felt hungry. I just felt tired, like heavy legs and kind of tiredness. So, you can feel like, I don't know if you're actually like feeling like really hungry in your stomach or whether you're just feeling like lower energy. But being dehydrated, being not having enough sleep means you don't have enough nerve energy going into an event. If you haven't trained specifically, done specific training for a specific event, then if you're doing something beyond what your body has been trained for, then you can get fatigued in certain ways, and you may feel low energy. But as far as filling myself from just a pure hunger perspective, if you understand that that you're not dehydrated, that you're not underslept, and there's not other factors causing you to feel low energy. If it's true hunger, then yeah, it depends on the event as to what I would eat. Ah, he's got a face now. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, sorry. Otherwise, you're talking to a black screen. Yeah, sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry.
So, if I'm like, I may be running in July this year, I may be running 900 kilometers through the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain.
With Harriet, still planning
with Harriet. It may happen this year, it may not. We're just starting to talk about it. There's obviously with the COVID stuff, it's been crazy, and with and she's just built a house and stuff. So but if we can make it happen, we will. Otherwise, it will be next year. We were supposed to do it last year, but in that sort of scenario, we're going to have access to food like once or twice a day. So we need to carry stuff with us, and I'm sure I'll be carrying plenty of dried fruit in that, because it's just lighter, and we've got to go over some serious mountains, and you can't be carrying watermelons. So, but that doesn't mean we can't rehydrate fruit before eating it if we have access to water, which I believe we had plenty of access to water through the event. There's plenty of streams and lakes and things like that we'll go past. So that's that sort of thing. But here in January, when I was running, the number of miles per day of what the day of the month was. So on the 26th of January, I ran 26 miles, which is a marathon. I was able to just make my run go past a fruit and veg store that sells juice. So I would get fresh orange juice. I would just get, just buy a liter. And so I'm not like running with a lot. And, I might buy 2 liters even, but I'd buy 1 or 2 liters, and then I would drink one. I usually wouldn't want to drink 2 liters just straight, because that sits too heavy in my stomach. But I'll drink one effortlessly, and that would just go down because it's hot here and I'm sweating a lot. And then, yeah, like if I ever started getting hungry or thirsty outside of my plan, then I would just change the route of my run, because I wasn't on a course. I could just go to the nearest juice store and buy juice. And so that was very convenient to have juice just available everywhere, and coconut, like fresh coconut water straight from young coconuts with no sugar added or anything, just 100% raw. That's easy to get here, and it costs like $1 for a liter, a US dollar for a liter. So it's so easy, right? So that's like kind of an ideal situation. Sometimes I have support vehicles where they can cut mangoes for me. So when I ran across England, 250 kilometers, I don't know what that is, 140 miles or 149 miles or something like that, in 35 hours, I had a friend driving, and I would meet him every 10 miles, every 16 kilometers. And, every few hours kind of thing. And I would just carry a bag with mangoes in it. I would carry an emergency bag with about 10 to 12 dates already pitted. And so they're very lightweight calories. I don't really like eating dates while racing because it's kind of a lot of sugar, and like I either like to have them blended with water.
Yeah. You don't feel thirsty when you eat plain dates? That happened to me.
Yeah, of course. So I have to drink. So I'm carrying water as well. So if I need to eat, I mean, I only ate the dates if I needed the calories. It was like an emergency thing. I just always had that pouch in the back. I know I had some calories, and then but I always had to drink water after having the dates for sure, or before having the dates as well, just in anticipation. But I would get to, when I would meet him again, I would give him my empty bags. I would give him the empty bottles of water. He would give me a new, maybe, I don't know, 1.5 liters of water, and in a couple of bottles, and he would give me a new bag of dates if I needed it, but most of the time I didn't need it because I didn't eat them. And then he would give me a bag of cut mango, and they were just the cheeks of the mangoes. He ate the mango pits, so I didn't have to worry about the pits. I wasn't carrying mango pits unnecessarily, carrying extra weight. And the cheeks, he would just cut the sides off, and that was it. Like I would just kind of just fold the mango cheek into my mouth and just get mango all over my face. I didn't care. That wasn't a priority to. No one was like, I didn't care if I had an orange face in the photos or whatever. It told a story. But I didn't even get him to cut into a hedgehog the mango cheeks. Like just simple, just cut them off, give them to me, and that gave him more time to sleep and rest, and in between preparing food for me and driving and stuff. And then other times I run around a track for 24 hours and, do 100 miles or whatever it is. And I can put a chair on the inside of the track, and then if it's self-supported, and I just put a box of fruit on there, and every time I go past, I put a label on it with my name so that other people don't start eating my fruit. Because that they all want the fruit, like none of them want to eat this other, rice and dried stuff and whatever. Like the fruit catches their interest.
Yeah, of course.
And then so I can pick up food every 400 meters. Like, so I don't even have to think about food. I just run until I feel like I need something, and then I have it. Some events it's self-supported, running through bushland, like forests and things. And maybe I don't see someone for 6 hours. And and I will sometimes let myself go dry, like rather than carry, say it's really hot and I need 4 or 5 liters of water. I'm not going to run with 4 or 5 liters of water. Forget about it. Then I'm going to get sore knees, or something else will go wrong, right? Because it's going to affect my running form, and it's going to slow me down. So I'd rather, in those situations, not have dates, because that's going to dry me out more. I would carry the minimum amount of water that will get me through, like maybe 3 liters. 3 liters is quite reasonable to carry that. And then I'll just carry either mangoes or bananas, maybe some stalks of celery, even if I want to because it's lightweight, and if I feel like eating it, I eat it. If I don't, I can just throw it away. It doesn't matter. But it's good to have, just to get some extra water and some extra minerals if I'm feeling it. But usually I don't, unless I run more than 100 miles, I don't really need to worry about minerals, because I eat salads every day.
Yeah.
My body has enough minerals already.
May I ask you something? So when normally the days of the event, when you're racing, or do you eat when you feel hungry, or do you eat, do you try to keep eating from time to time until you don't get
I raced for many years. I raced in a way where I ate as a preventative from getting hungry. Yeah. And that was based on advice from other people. That wasn't based on listening to myself. It wasn't based on experience. And that resulted in me eating too much. Say I had to run a race that's like 175 kilometers, over 100 miles through mountains and tough environments. And running those sort of races, I would get like, I don't know, there's so many stories coming back to mind. Like, it's such an insane sport. But I would learn eventually that, like, so I remember in the early years, I would go out and I would just be like smashing dates down, getting in like so many calories. Like I'd be thinking about calories, got this many calories down, and then after about 3 hours, I would just feel terrible because I'd had too many calories, and then I would lose all interest in food, and I'd probably be maybe a little bit dehydrated because I ate too many dates, for example, and so then when I did get hungry, I still didn't have an appetite. You know, some hours later, I didn't have an appetite anymore because I like my stomach wasn't like really happy with what I'd done to it. You know, I was never sick or anything like that because, you know, it's just fruits, but it just, it didn't work. So eventually I started eating based on how I felt, and I would start waiting until I felt just a touch of thirst and just a touch of hunger. And then I would be like, oh yeah, I should eat something now, because I will let myself finish a race completely, like almost run out of carbs, right? Like I won't eat for the last few hours, and I won't carry food maybe for the last couple of hours, because that helps me to perform better, run faster, be lighter, not be carrying stuff. And then when I get to the end of the race, I know I can eat an abundance of food and replace all those calories. But if I'm racing for like 24 hours or more, I can't start a race out like that. I don't ever want to get into a deficit, because that's going to slow me down. It's going to take time for my body to recover from that, pull myself out of being low on calories, you know, being pulled out of like hitting the wall, for example. And so, yeah, like, and I have hit the wall in races early on where I try to do a marathon without eating anything.
I was going to ask you, if you normally have some, you know, the marathon distance, do you have some food, or you can do it?
Yeah, I have done a marathon without eating, but I have to go really slow to do that. If I race, there's no way I can finish without eating anything. And so to me, somewhere between 25 kilometers and 35 kilometers, you know, like 15 miles to like 23 miles or so, I would find myself wanting to eat something, even if it's just a few dates, just something, just a mango, 2 mangoes, just something. And that's really important to me. To otherwise I'm going to like totally run out of carbs and be in trouble. Like the time I hit the wall, I had blurred vision. When I looked straight ahead, I had blurred vision. When I looked down, it was clear. So like that was really scary. I didn't know what was happening to me. Like I was like, what have I done to myself? Am I about to pass out? Am I like, what's happening? I've never been like this before. And I just wanted to sit down with every step, and my legs felt heavy, and I was almost staggering. Like I wasn't staggering, but my foot placement didn't quite feel precise.
Yeah.
And I was just walking up this hill like a death march, like a dirge. Like it was really pretty bad. And it was about 5 kilometers. I was walking up this hill about 3 miles, and before I got to the aid station, they gave me an orange, and I just like immediately kind of pepped back up again. And then I lay down for about 10 minutes in the shade, and they put a space blanket on me, those foil kind of blankets to keep the sun off you. And so I must have looked a lot worse than what I thought I was. But after 10 minutes in that orange, like I just ran to the finish fresh, like the first, because I'd really just been walking slowly that whole time I was suffering going up the hill. So I was kind of fresh again. Yeah. Ronnie, did you, we gone off track here, or I don't know what.
No, this has been good.
Yeah, if there's someone else that want to talk or do a question, sorry.
No, good to see
that was great.
Good to see you, Eugenio.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, pleasure to see you again.
Thank you for jumping on.
Thanks.
Well, great. I mean, we've basically come to an end of our time tonight. If anyone does have any last minute questions, you can feel free to ask, or simply follow. Okay, give it a second. But you can follow Grant. Where's the best places to follow you if they want to find out some more about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Raw Aussie Athlete, RAWAUSSIE Athlete, on Instagram, on Facebook, on everything. If you go to my website, rawausieathlete.com, you'll find links to all my social media, to even my email, which is just grant@rawausieathlete.com. And yeah, just send me a message, and ask me whatever it is you want to ask, and I'll get back to you for sure. I love questions. I'd invite you to my Thailand retreats, but they're not happening until next year, so that's still a ways away.
Shame. So thanks. Yeah, and we're both involved in the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle, which is happening right now, and you can investigate that more by clicking the link in either of our profiles if you go to our Instagram pages, or you can go to fruitfest.co.uk/bundle for more information as well. And I'll put a link below as well. So that's going to finish very soon, and it's a tremendous amount of value, a lot of books, a lot of courses and programs for people interested in the raw vegan diet, and we both highly encourage you have a look into that. So yeah, check that out. Go and have a look at it. Take some action soon. It's going to disappear very quickly, so check that out. Grant, Eugenio, you had another question?
Yeah, I bought the bundle, guys. It's amazing. I mean, the bundles of info there. I mean, it's like with that you are sorted for years. It's an amazing. Yeah, thank you for putting that together. Yeah, and it's good to. Well, I like to support people that is spreading the word and putting time and lovely energy. It's like it's an amazing. Thanks. Yeah.
We put a lot of time into making the books and stuff for it, but like, the amount of time that Lisa and Chris put into it was phenomenal, and I'm really astonished at what a beautiful job they've done pulling this all together. And their leadership is just unmatched. Like the heart that they put into this, like it comes from such a genuine place of wanting to help people, and like they make a living from it, but that's never the reason that they're doing it. The reason is it's much deeper. It's about they want people to experience what they've experienced. And that's the most important thing to them.
I've never met anyone in the raw vegan movement, or virtually anyone who thought to themselves, I can make a living out of doing this, I'm going to start putting information online. That was never the first motive of anyone that was, involved.
Yeah, if you're referring to fruit-based raw veganism, yeah, I agree.
But people just get excited about this and want to share it, and can't believe people don't know about it.
Okay, can I go with my question? Ronnie, what is happening with the Fruit Fest this year?
So...
Please, go ahead, mate.
Well, I want to put it on, so that I've been a little bit cautious about announcing it quite yet, so I know it's going to be a bit later before we announce it, but I definitely want to get people together. It might be less time than other years. It might only be 3 or 4 days or 5. I don't know exactly yet. And I'm also looking at other locations, because there was a few problems with the previous location. I wasn't entirely happy with them. So I'll probably in the next few weeks going to go and follow up with some other places and hopefully have some information soon. But I definitely want to do it. I definitely want to put it on, and we'll see if there's the desire from everyone else to go. So, but I do have a little bit of fear of what happens if rules come back. Who knows? But it seems like things are all opening up. It seems like things are relaxing, and hopefully people will be open to coming. So usually we try and do it the last week of July, and that's what we'll try and do as well. But basically, could be a bit shorter, could be different, could be smaller, could be less people, but the intention is there to get people together, and that's what I'll be focused on. So I definitely don't want to do an online fruit festival, although I that would be nice as well. But my excitement comes from people coming together in real life, which is why the last year or whatever, the lockdown has been madness to me, like total psychotic madness of the idea that if we restrict people from being able to meet, that somehow is a positive thing for anyone's health. Like that's just madness on every level. There's just no chance that that's right. So but it's been a hell of a story, hell of a journey. It's been a challenge. I definitely, the thing I feel about the festival is like, We managed to put it on last year, so I'm sure that we'll manage to put it on this year. There's a small chance it could go later. It could go into August. It could go into September. Who knows? Like, maybe that's what I'll figure out. But we'll do something and we'll get together. And we definitely want you to be helping if you want to help.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah.
It may not be just right down the road from your house though. This
No,
time.
yeah. No, I'm 10 miles from the last, from the. Yeah, I'm happy. I make the days and I travel. Yeah, of course, I'm more than happy to be there. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Ronnie, one more thing. In about 4 weeks from now, I'm planning on announcing nowish in 4 weeks from now, inviting people to come to Mexico, where I am, and I'll just organize something similar to the Fruit Winter kind of festival structure, where I just organize outings, but everyone books their own accommodation and pays their own food, and there's no cost for anything, like from my perspective. But we just have like a little mini, whatever you call it, retreat festival kind of thing here, and just hang out.
That'd be great.
That's interested in fruit.
That sounds excellent.
I'll announce that on Raw, on my rawausieathlete.com site. But when is that, Grant? It'll be. I haven't picked specific dates, but it has to be. I leave Mexico in by around the 20-something of May. So it has to be before that. And I was thinking of having like 10 days to 2 weeks. So I just need to make some quick decisions about exactly how it's going to work out. But there's no restrictions here. There's no travel restrictions coming in. There's no quarantines required. There's no COVID negative tests required to enter Mexico. It's a safe place. I've been here for ages. Haven't met anyone that has COVID or anything like that. People here are really nice in this town. It's a beach town. People are always happier in beach towns. And
that's for sure.
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear masks, but they don't enforce it, so we wouldn't have to wear masks. And it's just there's amazing nature to see here, so plenty of beautiful things to do.
Love it. Okay, awesome, Grant. That sounds great. Right, well, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna leave it there for myself.